We're live.
It being now 7 o'clock, we can call to order the February 5th, 2026 meeting of the Upper McCutcheon Township Board of Supervisors. Welcome, everybody. It's nice to see everybody tonight. We'll start as we usually do with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get started tonight, just want to take a moment. We are in the doldrums of February, between holidays, and it's cold, and there's feet of snow that just don't seem to move, and people like to double park. Take a moment to reflect a little bit, find a moment of grace and gratitude before we get tonight's start. Make sure that we're in the right headspace before we start about the business of Upper McCutcheon Township tonight. So if we can take a moment to do that, I'd appreciate it. Okay. First item on the agenda tonight is a public hearing. I'm going to make a motion to open a public hearing on the matter of a conditional use, I think this is written wrong, but conditional use regarding a Sheets on Windsor Avenue. Is there a second for the motion? All those in favor of motion to open the public hearing, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? With that, this is a public hearing regarding the conditional use application of Sheets Windsor. The Board of Supervisors will not take action during this hearing. However, the board is scheduled to act on it during an agenda item later in this meeting. And with that, I will turn it over to Solicitor Sean.
Just for the record, the address of the proposed Sheets subject to this conditional use is 871 North PA Route 100, Allentown, PA 18106, with the second parcel address of 7535 West Shulman Street, Allentown, PA 18106. I'd like to note that this notice of this hearing was duly advertised in the Parkland Press in their January 21st and January 28th of 2026 editions. We also note that their Upper McCutcheon Township has a board of 3 supervisors. All 3 are present. So there is a quorum, and there is, while there's not going to be action taken this evening, there are a big board here, and this is scheduled to be heard during the course of the regularly scheduled meeting. I'd like to turn this over to Meredith for a brief introduction of the project, and then I'll take on some of the legalities with respect to the use hearing.
So the applicant is requesting the conditional use to permit the construction of an auto service station with accessory convenience store and seating for more than 10 patrons. The store will include accessory drive-up window service. Both of those uses, auto service station and convenience store, are identified as conditional uses in the zoning ordinance. The Planning Commission reviewed this application at their January 21st, 2026 meeting and recommended approval with 4 conditions. The first 2 were conditioned that on all questions, comments, concerns, and conditions listed in the community development report and the engineer's report be addressed. And then they also made comments about the length of the median along Route 100 and asked that it be further explored with consideration to prevent northbound traffic exiting the property from making U-turns to the southbound lanes of Route 100. They also asked that sidewalks along Tillman Street and the access drive are further considered. That concludes my comments.
Thank you, Meredith. For the board's consideration, as well as for the public here in attendance, the law on conditional uses is well settled. A conditional use is one that is legislatively approved for a particular zoning district, so long as the proposed use satisfies the standards for such use set forth in the zoning ordinance. Once the burden of the applicant is satisfied, the applicant is entitled to the conditional use, and the burden shifts to the objectors. The objectors must prove to a high degree of probability that aspects of the proposed use will adversely impact the health safety, and welfare of the community in ways not expected by the legislative body when it established its lists of approved conditional uses. In order to satisfy this burden, speculation of possible harm is not sufficient to satisfy this burden. So, the burden, once it shifts, is on the objectors based upon facts and not speculation, not circumstance. The particular requirements that you want to listen to for the applicant to meet its burden are those set forth in section 27 or part 27, section 118 of the zoning ordinance, section 402I related to auto service stations, section 402.ZZ related to restaurants, and part 5, which are the environmental standards that must be satisfied. Again, this is a proposed convenience store with an auto service station as an accessory use as well as a restaurant proposed as an accessory use. With that, I will turn it over to the applicant to proceed with their case.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes. I can, but I think the microphone's on.
Is that better?
Excuse me, just one point of order. There is a stenographic record being taken this evening, so I ask anyone that wants to speak, come up to the microphone, be sworn in, and then speak clearly. Do not interrupt or talk over anyone, so that the stenographer can take an accurate record of what's being presented here this evening.
Dave, Eric, do you want to stand? Do you want to take them all together?
Yeah.
Okay.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
While we're doing swearing in, do we want to swear in potential objectors as well at the front of the meeting? Or do you want to wait till we identify them later in the meeting?
I think we can identify them later,
Okay.
just to keep the record clean, and it's when they're presenting facts, not asking questions. But they should identify themselves regardless.
Good evening. My name is Julie Wagner Burkhart, and I'm a land use attorney with Stevens and Lee, representing Sheets Inc., the applicant pursuant to the conditional use application that's before you tonight. This is for a property consisting of 2 contiguous lots, parcel numbers 545-683-851-133 and 545-693-024-886. And that together comprises 11 acres. These 2 parcels will be consolidated and subdivided into 2 new parcels, one of which being approximately 3.8 acres that will be the proposed development of the 6,139 square foot Sheets convenience store and the indoor dining. There are 12 gas fueling positions proposed and a pull-up window option for made-to-order foods ordered through mobile app. The portion of the property proposed for the use is within the LI district. Once the subdivision occurs, the remaining parcel is both in the LI district and the neighborhood commercial district. But because we're not yet subdivided, we're here for both parcels for this conditional use hearing. We did receive a zoning determination letter dated December 1st, 2025 that was issued by zoning officer Ali Scarfaro, and that was to give us some guidance before preparing this conditional use. One of the things that we sought guidance on was with respect to that drive-up window, and that it was considered an accessory use, and her determination is that it was. We received a favorable conditional use review memorandum dated January 16th, 2026, issued by Meredith Keller, and an application review and a traffic impact study review conducted by the township engineer, HRG. Just for an order of just administrative business, I would like to admit both the conditional use application as well as we did receive a planning commission recommendation letter dated January 21st that was stated in the opening remarks. and with a written recommendation. I'd like to also put that on the record right off the bat if we could take care of that right away.
Sure. How do you want to mark this?
With, I'll mark it A1 and A2.
A1 being application?
That's correct. Does the board have a copy of the application in their packet, or do you need copies?
I'd like a copy.
You'd like a copy?
I don't think it's in our pocket.
Okay.
A1 was the application, what was A2?
Planning commission letter.
Piece of it, okay.
So this one will be marked. One.
If it helps, it may be easier just to write them on without the stickers. I don't know what the board's preference is, but typically that's acceptable.
Okay. Thank you.
I think I have this.
Sure.
Thank you.
So after the planning commission meeting that took place on January 21st, we did, our development team met with township staff on February 2nd to review the recommendations contained in that planning commission recommendation letter, as well as go over some of the staff comments so that we could be in the best shape possible for you this evening and to make the representation that we will comply with all of the comments and recommendations and meet the spirit of the ordinance fully. I'm joined this evening with the project engineer, Victor Grande of Red 2, as well as Dave Smith, the representative of Sheets, and Eric Mounts, the project traffic engineer. I'll ask them all questions and submit evidence to address the ordinance criteria for the conditional use. And we believe that we will meet the objective criteria of the ordinance and are therefore requesting that you approve our application this evening. So we'll start with the project engineer, Victor Grande. And do you mind if he sits during the questioning? Or would you rather that he stand? You can sit to be comfortable.
Thank
you. So if you could please state your full name for the record.
My name is Victor Grande,
And who is your employer?
Virtue Associates.
And what is your relationship to the applicant, Sheets Inc.?
Sheets is one of the clients of Virtue.
And what professional titles or certifications do you have?
I'm a professional engineer in the state of Pennsylvania.
And how many years of experience do you have in this field?
Approximately 18, about 14 years licensed.
Do you have a curriculum vitae? I think we do have one for you. Pass this. This will be A3. And while I'm marking these, if you want to give the board a little highlight of your experience.
Sure. I have a bachelor's in science from Drexel University, graduated in 2007. I got licensed in about 2012. I'm also licensed in other states as well, but here to testify under Pennsylvania law. And I am a project manager, a civil project manager at Virtue Associates.
And with that experience level, I'd like to have him considered to be an expert for the hearing today.
I think we're both deferring to each other on that.
Yeah, no, I have no problem with him being.
Okay.
but
And have you ever offered testimony on behalf of a client in a conditional use process before?
Yes,
How about in this township?
yes,
Did you hear my brief description and that given by Meredith of the property and what we're here for this evening?
yes,
To your knowledge, does Sheets Inc. have the property that I described under lease agreement?
yes, that is correct.
And did you evaluate the described property for the use intended to be made of it by Sheets?
Yes,
And can you describe the general area of the property?
yes. So the property consists of two parcels with frontages along Route 100 and also Tillman Street. The Sheets primary land development will be consisting along the frontage along Route 100. And we will also have a access drive on the intersection of Windsor Avenue and Tillman Street, at Tillman Street.
This will be marked A4.
If you want to say it's marked before, we'll mark it. for you.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Victor, would you mind walking the board through what is shown here on this plan?
Yes, what you're looking at here is a rendered site plan. It is reflective of the LD plan set that has been provided with this application. The zoning data table, associated zoning data table is shown there with the existing lot number 1, existing lot number 2, proposed lot number 1, and proposed lot number 2. The two proposed lots are shown on this rendering. Parcel frontage along Route 100 shows the frontage of lot 1, and the parcel along Tillman Street is lot 2. Currently today it is an existing farm field, currently being used as crops. And we are proposing to provide a proposed sheets, 6,100, approximately 6,100 square foot sheets with a 12 pump canopy with 12 fueling stations. When you enter Route 100, there is a right-in, right turn that exists today. That was part of the HOP application back in, I believe, 2005, approximately right around then. And there is the second point of access to the site along Tillman Street at the intersection of Windsor. That is a stoplight controlled intersection. That also too was installed approximately in 2005.
Are there any interesting or unusual configurations or physical characteristics of this property?
So there is an existing quarry to the north. Some of that area is shown there with buffer requirements, which what we have to abide by. And then there is against the neighborhood commercial to the south, which is the abutting zone district.
And is the property currently in use at all, or is it vacant?
It's currently existing field.
And did you prepare the site plan that was submitted with the subject conditional use application?
Yes.
Did you review the ordinances of Upper Macungie Township to evaluate the plan's compliance with the applicable ordinance provisions?
Yes, the current.
And are any specific additional requirements for convenience stores noted in the ordinance?
Yes, there are requirements for convenience stores.
Are you, well, let's look at the ordinance provisions. So. We're gonna do the ordinance stuff first. Okay, so you answered that there was a specific additional requirement for convenience store, but I think maybe you mean only in the instance where there's seating.
Yes.
Okay, So, otherwise though, for just a convenience store alone, there's no additional requirements for convenience store, is that correct?
That is correct.
But because we are proposing dining for 10 or more patrons, we are then placed within the additional requirements for a restaurant, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And would you please recite what section 27402 CZ says regarding those requirements?
Section 27402 ZZ restaurant. The requirements for this specific principal use is number one, dumpster screening and waste containers. Number two, outdoor menu board signs for drive-through services. Number three, traffic circulation onto, within, or and off of the lot shall be clearly marked. The drive-through use shall be designed with a space for an adequate number of waiting vehicles while avoiding conflicts with traffic onto, around, and off the site. The stacking capacity shall be sufficient to serve the number of vehicles that can reasonably be expected to be served and waiting for service at the same time during the most busy 15-minute period in any average week. Item number four, a proposed restaurant building that is not attached to a shopping center and which includes drive-through service shall be set back a minimum of 300 feet from any other restaurant buildings that existing or has been approved, is not attached to a shopping center, and includes drive-through services. This 300-foot setback shall not apply if the board of supervisors determines that the restaurant will be served by a fully coordinated and safe traffic access system that minimizes driveways involving left-hand turns onto arterial streets, except at a signalized intersection.
Is there actually a drive-through proposed here?
There is not a drive-through proposed here. There is a drive-up window, pickup window proposed.
And so those provisions that you just recited that relate to a drive-through service, that would not apply to this facility, correct?
That is correct.
And is there an outdoor menu board proposed for this project?
There is not.
So the provision relating to an outdoor menu board would also not apply, correct?
That is correct.
So that leaves the dumpster screening and waste containers. Have those been complied with?
Yes, there is a proposed dumpster located to the east of the proposed Sheets building, just south of the driveway.
And have they been properly screened?
Yes,
And with respect to traffic circulation, that is the other provision that does remain effective with this project. The traffic circulation onto, within, and off of the lot shall be clearly marked. Is it clearly marked?
yes, that is correct, as a designated lane.
So in your opinion, the proposed site plan does show compliance with all of these requirements?
Yes, it does.
And are any additional requirements for auto service stations specifically noted in the ordinance?
Yes,
And do they appear at section 27402I?
yes.
And what are those requirements?
Item number one is see definition in part two, the definition of auto repairs garage. Number two, all activities except for those performed at the fuel or air pumps shall be performed within a building. Item number three, fuel pumps shall be at least 25 feet from the existing street right of way. Number four, overnight outdoor storage of junk shall be prohibited within the view of a public street or dwelling. Any junk vehicle stored outside overnight shall be screened from the view of adjacent dwellings. Number five, an individual junk vehicle, as defined by part two, shall be stored within view of a public street or dwelling for more than a total of 20 days. No junk vehicles shall be stored within 20 feet of an existing right-of-way. No more than 3 junk vehicles shall be stored on the lot outside of an enclosed building at any point in time. Number 6, there shall be an ability for a minimum of 4 vehicles to be serviced at each cluster of gas pumps or to be lined up behind cars being serviced without obstruction of access into or out of the driveways from public streets. Number 7, see also a truck stop. Number 8, the use may include a convenience store if the requirements for such are also met.
And does the proposed project comply with these provisions?
Yes, it does.
And with respect to item number 6, did the zoning officer make a determination that how we have proposed the project, we are in compliance with that provision?
Yes, we provided a demonstration exhibit.
Can you please describe any landscaping or buffering features that are shown on the plan and point them out for the board?
Yes, there are street trees along Route 100. There are also a landscaping to the north of the driveway. And there are also landscaping along the perimeter of the parking, as well as there is a line of vegetation buffering proposed adjacent to the residential use along Tillman Street.
And does the landscaping and buffering that you are showing and have pointed out for the board, does that comply with the ordinance requirements?
Yes, it does.
And I know you touched upon this a little bit, but just for sake of being thorough, can you highlight any provisions made for vehicular access to the site?
Sure. So there is a right-in, right-out turn associated on Route 100, which has a designated right turn lane. Vehicles can enter and exit off of Route 100, giving them the ability to enter the gas fueling station area or the proposed sheets. There is also a full movement access with regards to the intersection at Windsor Avenue, which has an extended driveway up to the proposed sheets that has access to those site amenities. All truck turns and all trucks are coming off of Windsor Avenue from Tillman Street. That would be for fueling and convenience store amenities.
Thank you. And this is Exhibit A2 that we marked earlier. This is the PC recommendation letter. Can you see the recommendation with condition number 4 and read that for the board and the public, please?
Sure. Condition number 4, sidewalks along Tillman Street and access drive are further consideration.
Okay. And did you participate in a meeting with staff on February 2nd where that subject was discussed?
Yes.
And are pedestrian access ways being considered and evaluated as part of the land development plan for this project?
Yes.
And are sidewalks in both the frontage and with respect to internal portions of the site actually a requirement of the ordinance under the saldo?
Yes.
Okay. Does the plan depict any detail for any details for fire safety and emergency responses?
There has been truck turns provided for the deliveries as well as the fuel deliveries. We will be providing a fire truck turn or emergency service plan to demonstrate that this site is compliant.
Okay. Do you foresee any impediments to compliance with safety and emergency response ordinance provisions?
No.
And can you please describe the parking requirements for the proposed use and detail the parking that we have proposed on the plan?
Yes, the parking requirements for the convenience store.
Do you want to look at the application?
Yes, please.
This is what we have marked as A1. What are you looking for? I'm not sure.
The parking. So the parking requirements are, there are parking requirements for auto service station, restaurant, and retail sales. The total spaces required are 44 total spaces that would be required. We are providing 47 parking spaces. Those proposed parking spaces are along the west, south, and east side of the proposed Sheetz convenience store, along the southern side of the parking lot and drive aisle, and also to the east of the convenience store.
And does the property have sufficient utility service or connection to service for the proposal?
Yes.
Have will serve letters been issued?
Will serve letters are currently being obtained from the utilities now.
And does the project include public or private water or sewer, and are both available in sufficient supply?
Yes, as of date, we are getting will serve letters, but water and sewer is available.
And did you receive the review letters that were attached to the PC recommendation letter
Yes,
and that were referenced in the opening remarks?
yes,
And did you have an opportunity to review everything?
yes,
And have you evaluated whether everything that has been listed in both the recommendation letter and the review letters will be complied with?
yes, during land development.
And so you've done enough preliminary work to determine that stormwater needs can be met?
Yes, there was a preliminary stormwater calculations performed.
And in your professional opinion, will the project be able to comply with all of the review comments?
Yes,
Will the project be able to comply with SALDO requirements?
yes.
And let's just go through a few of the comments just in a little bit more detail to give the board some assurances with respect to the stacking capacity in the lanes and the pickup window. Since it's not your traditional drive-through, do you have any information to share on what the stacking capacity may be at that pickup window?
Yes, we've demonstrated at least a minimum of vehicular stacking spaces are available for the pickup window.
Okay. And if you would just walk the board through, because this was another question, to demonstrate that the eastbound movement entering the site from Route 100 to the pickup window won't have any conflicting movements with respect to parking and other vehicle traffic on the site?
Yes, with regards to the movement, the vehicular movement would be entering the right turn lane off of Route 100, entering the right in off of 100, and then circulating the proposed Sheetz convenience store in a counterclockwise rotation, and then picking up the food along the drive-up window for the pickup window on the north side of the building.
And upon receiving the review comments, were you able to take a look and confirm that there are no fuel trucks that will conflict with parked vehicles on the site?
Yes, there is an underground storage tank facility shown in a concrete hatch in the northwest corner of the site.
And will delivery trucks also be able to get in and out without conflicting with parked vehicles while making deliveries?
Yes,
And just to clarify, also another comment in the review letter is either parking or pavement proposed within the 75-foot required buffer yard from the Zeraka property that is the only residential use on the southern commercial district.
yes, the setback can be demonstrated with a dashed line shown on the plan.
And is that the Zeraka property, the property that is directly south of where the landscape buffering is shown on the plan there?
Yes, that is correct.
Are you familiar with the standards and criteria imposed on conditional use applications for the zoning ordinance?
Yes,
And in your professional opinion, is the proposed use in harmony with the purposes, goals, objectives, and standards of the township's comprehensive plan and this zoning ordinance?
yes,
And the SALDO as well?
yes,
And in your professional opinion, is the proposed use suitable for the proposed location in terms of the physical characteristics of the site?
yes, it is.
And in your professional opinion, will the proposed use at the proposed location result in a substantial or undue adverse effect on adjacent property, the character of the neighborhood, traffic conditions, parking, public improvements, public sites or rights of way, adjacent property values, or other matters affecting the public health, safety, and general welfare?
No, it will not.
And in your professional opinion, will the proposed use impose an undue burden on any of the improvements, facilities, utilities, and services of the township, whether such services are provided by the borough or some other entity?
No, it will not.
And also, in your professional opinion, will the performance standards listed in Part 5, which is the section dealing with environmental concerns of the zoning ordinance, be met?
Yes.
I have no further questions for this particular witness, so if the board has any questions for him, we are going to take care of traffic in a separate segment.
It sounds like you have worked in other sheets projects and one of which was in this township. Do you,
I did not personally work on that project, but there is another sheets in this town.
anything that strikes you as different or unique about this project compared to other convenience store projects you worked on?
No, this is very similar. This is a standard prototype sheets that I've worked on in multiple different locations.
Yeah, I have a lot of traffic questions, but I'm gonna hold off on those then, okay? So I just wanted to, I thought, there's things that I thought I heard, but I wasn't sure, so I'm asking to clarify. I know that there's, I guess it's related to traffic in a way, but it's also signage. When you talk about the proposed circulation, right in, right out of Route 100, obviously we don't want anyone to make a left turn on that Route 100. Are there any signage that you're planning to put in, or can you talk a little bit about signage in general? Because the thoughts that I had was, well, first of all, I wanted to make sure that the circulation was clear and that there was no, there's some ways you could control, a left turn, headed back. If I guess there is a median strip at that location, but just it's a little bit like belts and suspenders, but just making sure that drivers aren't going to try to make that left turn, especially if they came off the interchange and they're used to that.
That was discussed both at the planning commission and during some staff meetings, and
Okay.
so there are Sheets deals with that a lot,
Sure.
and they have prototypical signage for those instances, which they will incorporate. They actually will have to make a signage package submission to.
Yeah, I didn't see one, and that's why I'm asking the question,
Yes.
because I've seen them in the past, but I didn't see that in the package.
While they work through all of their land development, design work, they're going to figure out the correct placement for all the signage that they're going to need, and will probably be in for signage.
All right, so you anticipate that being addressed
Oh, yes.
further later on, so you look at it. So that was one. I thought I heard you say that there was going to be truck access for convenience and amenities, something to that effect. Are you planning to have truck access for drivers to be able to, come to seats as a customer?
Just for deliveries. It was
Okay.
all truck turning movements for deliveries.
I thought that's what I thought this was. What I heard you say was something related to trucks and service and amenities. So I thought it might be that the truck drivers are going to be allowed to park and.
No, the Sheets representative, who will also be
Okay.
offering some testimony, will clarify that a little bit more in his testimony as well.
Okay, all right. Well, that's what I thought I heard. I was like caught off a little bit, and I said, let me double check. And then maybe when also you're looking at signage, I'm just looking at areas where potentially a truck could come in and park. So may want to think about addressing signage in that signing package to make sure they're aware that there's no truck parking availability, if that's your intent, right? So
That's correct.
okay. And where would the delivery truck, where would they park? Are we talking about tractor trailers? Are we talking about vans? What are we thinking?
There is a specific size related to the deliveries for the convenience store. That is a tractor trailer. And
And where would it park? I don't see any kind of obvious areas for a tractor trailer in the parking area.
sure. We provided a truck movement that Julie will be providing in a second. I'll just give it a second.
Sure, take your
Are
time.
we at A5? 85. Yes, thank you. You can kind of help you visualize the turning movements.
Okay,
So there are two turning movements that are requirements for sheets. One is for fueling and the other one is for the convenience store deliveries. The fueling for the truck turn and the point of fueling is in the northwest corner, shown with the concrete hatch on sheet number 9 in the exhibit provided.
okay,
And then the exiting movement is also shown here with no conflicts to the incoming traffic. That can be shown on the lower portion of the plan to the northeast corner of the facility, just north of the dumpster enclosure. And then on sheet 10 of 10, the convenience store deliveries is shown to the northeast corner of the Sheet's convenience store, where the point of the truck delivery would be then parked in the hatched or striped area just to the north of the building.
okay. And how would you kind of control that those two spaces are only used for your deliveries and not used for, customers?
They are striped out with no parking.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you. That is, let me double check to see if there's anything else. All right, yeah, the rest of the things are kind of traffic related, so I'll wait. Thank you.
I guess that's gonna be good. The lot line adjustment that we're doing once we do the consolidation. Remy, were you involved in the measurement and determination of the acreage of each of the two lots?
Yes.
I'm curious why the decision was made here to put the lot line adjustment to make such a, where it seems like the site would be more well suited for a little bit more acreage, the Sheet site. Was there a specific consideration as to why the site is the size that it is?
Yes, that is related to the lease of the property and also related to the Sheets and landlord conversations on where that lot line should be placed.
Okay.
The idea is to encompass all of the items that are associated in site amenities, including stormwater, on lot number 1, which would be the Sheets parcel.
So one of the conditions that we're looking at with regard, I believe, to the restaurant is the internal traffic circulation, and I had a couple questions about that, especially with marking. You indicated that on the right-hand turn from Route 100 to get to the, I don't know what we're gonna call it, the drive-up window, pickup window, whatever label that's appropriate for the definition of the zoning ordinance, that the encouragement would be to do the right end and then do a complete circle around the entirety of the building. Did I get that right? The counterclockwise movement?
Counterclockwise movement. Yes.
Is there there are some interior markings within the site plan that I'm looking at. Is there gonna be some sort of stronger interior markings encouraging that? I believe one of the comments was that the right in, right out from Route 100 creates an awkward U-turn to get into the drive-up pickup window if we don't have definitive traffic flow otherwise. How are we going to limit people from making that awkward U-turn?
Sure. So what we're going to look at during the land development application is proper signage and any additional physical restrictions for traffic movement that would provide clear direction and preventative from conflicting safety movements.
Okay. And I guess the same question with regards to the entrance from Windsor, is the encouragement then, even on those folks coming that way, to use the drive-up window to avoid the direction, I give myself the hard 90-degree left turn into the hard 90-degree right turn into it? Are we still encouraging around what should be a complete counterclockwise circle?
I don't know that we've looked at that specifically, but we will certainly look at that during land development. It is possible. It is a possible movement that we'll have to evaluate.
I understand the difference between zoning and land development, but one of the specific requirements in the restaurant application piece is traffic circulation internally and making sure that we're comfortable that it's not creating unnecessarily dangerous situations inside the lot. So
Yes.
it looks like on the Windsor access piece, I'm taking that the striped area is a proposed median.
The striped area
Before you go into the parking area, it looks like, at least on what I'm
on the driveway,
looking at a site plan, I don't know.
yes.
Looks
To the
like-
north of the dumpster?
Yes, to the north of the dumpster, that's gonna be a concrete median?
No, that would just be striped. That is for the truck turn maneuvers, so that there are no incoming conflicts with outgoing traffic.
Okay, and the same for the striped area around the pickup window, that's also not going to be a median, so to protect truck movements internally?
Yes, that is striped as well.
Okay, because that's also, it looked like, this is marked out here, and I believe on the turn, A5, that's where one of the loading areas is for trucks, right?
That is correct.
Okay. So we can't put a median there, 'cause I thought I read something in a zoning description about putting a median in a drive-through window, but not a drive-through window or a drive-up pickup window. But that's a consideration that the applicant's willing to make, to try to make sure that, especially coming off the Windsor entrance, that we're creating a traffic flow that is consistent with coming off the Route 100 entrance.
Yes,
Because otherwise you got people coming up and out and turning the same, like trying to get in the Dunkin' Donuts next to the Audi dealership, which becomes a pain in the butt.
yes,
Okay, so there is gonna be some consideration made in some internal signage as well as markings and pavements to make sure that the traffic circulation that you're proposing is gonna be met.
yes. If the municipality wants any demonstration through any type of vehicular movement exhibits, we can provide.
Okay, and you think any of the internal traffic circulation will be improved by expansion of the lot size?
No,
I don't know the answer.
Yeah, I'm just thinking out loud here, since we both brought up similar concerns. Would you be amenable to, just as one of the conditions to, because we don't have a signage plan yet, just make a condition that you would provide us a signage plan that would meet the requirements or approval of, say, staff and consultants? Because it's hard, we're talking about it, but we're.
That'll be a land development thing that they'll have to do as part of the saldo anyways, produce a signage package, so they'll have to pass planning, and then we'll get a second.
So we'll
bite
have
of
a
that.
second
We'll
bite
get a
at it.
second bite of that at preliminary or final.
All right, as long as we have a chance to review it, and I think we both want that, nobody wants to have a problem, so,
That's for sure.
okay, so it's not a big ask, but it's just a procedural one to make sure.
And we
do it.
did actually already commence some review of signage. That was part of the determination letter request that we made to Ally Scarfaro, and she did provide some guidance that we can incorporate in the signage package once we submit it. So we've begun the exercise.
Okay.
And we'll certainly, and have already looked at different ways to make this as safe as possible.
Yeah, and honestly, a lot of, signage is tough, circulation is tough, not everybody always even, reads the signs, right? But whatever we can do to make this as safe as possible, and I see some opportunities, just to make it clear, so
absolutely.
appreciate that, okay. Anything else?
I have a couple questions.
Okay.
And these perhaps may be more suited to the Sheets representative, but while we're talking about traffic and some of the performance standards required with respect to affecting the surrounding neighborhood, and I believe this was discussed during the planning commission meeting, controlling trash on the site and having that blown off onto neighboring properties. Will there be cameras located to the outside to look for trash or people dumping and employees responsible for patrolling the lot, so to speak?
We will definitely get to that with the Chiefs representative.
Okay.
He'll walk everybody through sort of what they standard do.
And similarly, with the access coming in through lot 1 onto lot 2 off of Tillman Street onto lot 1, where you're going to be the lessee of that lot, what property rights will you have to that driveway access? And
That'll be an access easement.
okay, as far as you taking that patrolling, concept a step further, if a tractor trailer pulls in off of that access driveway and parks there, what ability will you have or the Sheets employees have to go out and tell them to move that vehicle?
That'll be part of the access. There'll be maintenance responsibilities there as well. So it may be something, I don't know, I mean, I'm thinking out loud, I'm sorry,
That's
as to
okay.
whether or not it's something that can be noted on the land development plan at the, at that time, once the consolidation and subdivision is actually effected. Perhaps there can be some sort of note to suggest that there is an access that is, held by lessee for the use.
We're gonna have mutuality of ownership of both lots?
Yes,
Is that an intended permanent condition, or is it one that perhaps the mutuality of ownership could also be built into the easement language to make sure
it'll most certainly be in the easement language.
that there's some cooperation and consideration so that the sheets may appeal to the landowner as well for assistance in that regard?
Yes. There's contemplation even for a shared signage, which is part of one of the things that we needed alleys to, because that's actually in the North Neighborhood Commercial District where that Windsor Drive enters the site. So we had to get a determination there as to what kind of signage we might be able to do for multiple tenants. And that was one thing that she made a determination on for us. So there's a lot between lessee and landlord.
And if we're pursuing multiple tenants, especially one on lot 2, we're gonna have to have some sort of shared easement with both pieces accessing the same roadway,
Correct,
which makes it very exciting for you.
sure does.
And that would be, we could condition that easement agreement subject to review and approval by the township and township solicitor.
Yeah, I don't see not, as part of the subdivision.
Actually, you know what, you guys got me thinking about something else. I have one other question relative to, again, truck parking. I mean, I know that it can be a challenge if you're working in the sheets and also if potentially someone parks a truck and, it's harder to catch. Is there any way you're controlling that? But I mean, I was even thinking cameras, if you had cameras pointed at the potential parking spots that no one else is supposed to park but your own trucks. And I'm not suggesting, I mean, use your ideas, whatever you want, but I think it'd make me feel a little better if you had some sort of more positive control on how to manage.
The chief's representative who's here,
You could talk
he
about.
both was in operations and management, and they definitely have that figured out. They don't want anybody on the site who shouldn't be there, and they won't be having diesel trucking here, so there's no really good reason for a truck.
Okay.
But he'll get into that
Well,
as far
okay, all
as
right.
official testimony.
Fair
so.
enough. Okay, well, I'll wait. Thank you.
Does anyone from the public have any questions, not testimony or statements, but questions for the witness? If you do, please come up and identify yourself and use the microphone.
Thank you. My name is Michael Gross. Just the one question I had, for the engineering was about with lot 1 and lot 2, because during the planning commission meeting, we talked about, there's a field, an open space below the entrance and exit off of Tillman Street that was said that would be permanent open space, right there, correct?
Yes, that is current open space here.
But I thought during the planning commission, when I asked about this, he said that would be permanent open space. I guess I'd have to review the video from, was that 2 weeks ago? But my question, if it is open space, why would it not be incorporated into lot 1 and instead incorporated with lot 2, just with the boundary line?
That would have to be, that is part of the lease agreement in negotiation with the landlord and the lease sheets, the leasing. And the lot 1 proposed lot line was based on containing all of the required site amenities for the proposed sheets and nothing more.
Okay. But so just to confirm though, you're saying that that open area is not going to be permanently open. There's nothing that's going to keep it unbuildable.
I just want to make sure I'm understanding your question. So you're referring to where there is a detention basin shown,
No.
or this part here?
The part to the right of that.
Okay, so when you use the word open space, are you referring to required open space for the project, or?
Oh, no, I'm not saying a township. When I had come the other week, I had asked if that was going to be permanent open space, and I was under the impression it was. But now I'm just hearing that that will be in fact buildable or developable, or will that remain open?
Oh, Okay, yeah, there's no development plans yet for lot two, so I don't know that we can even answer that today.
Just for the record purposes, since we're doing a lot of this piece here, we're talking about on A4, first page, there's identified green space on lot two that's south of the proposed driveway. We're gonna call it a hump, in the southeast corner of the lot. That's what we're talking about as the proposed, the disputed permanent versus temporary open space.
Yes, it's shown as green on
Yeah.
this A4, that's correct, yeah.
Just making sure.
That's what he's pointing to.
Just making sure that.
Are we talking about this area? Yeah. Okay, okay, all right.
Thanks.
That was my only question. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rose.
Anyone else?
Okay. Thank you. So I'm now going to call Dave Smith, who is with Sheets.
Good evening.
Please state your full name for the record, if you would,
David A. Smith Jr.,
and who is your employer?
Sheets Incorporated.
And what is your title at Sheets Incorporated?
I am a senior real estate site selector.
And what does that mean that you do for Sheets?
I find dirt, I find sites, and I negotiate the deals.
Has that always been your role with Sheets?
No, I've been with Sheets almost 18 years. I started off as a store manager and worked my way up through the corporate ladder in various project manager positions, one of which ironically was the former dry food position, so I can speak to that if you have any questions about it.
And are you well familiar with both the operations and management of a Sheets facility?
I am. I mean, things have changed obviously in the 16 years since I was in operations, but I still have enough of a familiarity that I can speak to it.
And is Sheets under a lease agreement for the subject property?
Yeah, we have a lease agreement with Harmony Office LLC. Atul Patel is our landlord.
Okay. And are you familiar with this facility that's being proposed for the subject properties?
Yes, I am.
How many Sheets facilities currently are in operation nationwide?
I just checked it this morning. We're up to 821, and 315 of those are in Pennsylvania.
And what about locally? Are there any Sheets facilities within the vicinity or in the township?
Yes, Satronia Road is in this township.
And were you involved with that?
I was.
And will the facility that's being proposed for this location be different in any way to your standard garden variety Sheets facility?
For the most part, it's the same. Not all of our stores have the pickup window option, and then we have some sites that have truck diesel, like up here in Smithville, but this won't have that. It will just have the drive-up pickup window.
And I'm sure you heard the questions relative to how to really deter trucks who are not planned for at this site from parking or just otherwise being at the facility. What does Sheets typically do with that?
But we start off with signage. We have no truck parking signage that we place around the sites. We have cameras everywhere, inside and out. We can see, I mean, I don't want to exaggerate, but probably almost every square inch of the property with our coverage. And those cameras are monitored by what we call the SOC, the Security Operations Center at the corporate office. And at any time, they can be dialed up and they can help to assist in any issues we're having with the site, be it crime or parking or whatever the situation may be.
And will this facility operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week?
Yes, it will.
How many employees typically would be employed by this type of facility?
Average, we have about 25 to 30 total employees, and that would include hourly, salary, management, full-time, part-time.
And what would be the standard max per shift?
On average, the busiest shift would have 8 employees.
And how does Sheets attempt to mitigate impacts to the surrounding communities?
we'll build fences, we'll do trees, shrubs, hedgerows to help to mitigate any impacts to any residents that are nearby. And we also have extensive training in place for all of our employees. So if you have, for instance, a spill on the lot, all the employees are trained on how to react to that, what needs to be done, the whole process. And to the extent that we've shut off valves in the store behind the counter. So if someone leaves their pump running and it's overflowing, they can turn it off and react right away.
And what kind of monitoring do you do both for trash and waste handling and just general customer population?
So for trash, I know one of the questions was about how we mitigate trash on site. Most of our stores have at least one facilities person. Some have one for each shift. But that person's sole responsibility is maintaining the grounds, trash inside and out, but mostly outside, keeping the parking lot clear, picking up trash, changing out the cans that are at the pumps. And that's their sole responsibility. And it's in most cases, that's a full-time position. Sites like New Smithville, we have 3 shifts because of the truck diesel component. And that's all those folks do is they clean and maintain our properties.
Can sound be modulated at the pumps?
Yeah, I'm sorry. The sound of the pumps can be controlled from the office in the store. So the manager can adjust the volume there.
And how does Sheets address customer safety at its facilities?
First off, with our cameras, we have, like I said, extensive camera coverage that's connected directly to our security operations center. If you're ever in a store, you may run the chance of hearing a check-in. They'll check in to the stores on a regular basis and just say who they are. We'll just check in to see how everyone's doing. And the employees are trained to give them the thumbs up if everything's okay. And if not, then they can react right away. So that covers the safety of our staff and our customers as well. From you want me to speak to the USTs as well?
Yes,
Yeah,
sure.
so from the gas side, which is usually the most common concern among residents, we use state-of-the-art double-walled tanks. And what that means is the tanks are encased in a separate tank, and in that space, there's sensors. And those sensors are connected directly to our corporate office. So if any leaks are ever detected, there's an immediate notification sent to our team, and there's a response. They mobilize immediately and get to the site as fast as they can to correct it. We also have breakaway hoses. So I don't know if anyone's ever seen someone drive off while the nozzle's still in the tank. I've witnessed it myself. Never done it myself, but I've witnessed it. When that happens, there's a breakaway that basically lets the hose detach from the pump without spilling any fuel. The tanks, the pumps as well have the same technology. So if a serious accident were to happen where that tank got hit by a vehicle and the pumps fall away, they have breakaway connections as well. So that prevents gas from flowing out. And then they also, each of our pumps have bollers, concrete bollers around each of those islands. So we really try to have checks and double checks and really try to keep the sites as safe as possible.
And how about employee training?
Oh yeah, they're all trained on. Every employee has to go through extensive training for every aspect of the site. So they all have to be trained on how to handle fuel spills. They all have to be trained on if they're at the register, they're supposed to keep an eye on the cameras because I don't know if you've ever seen. They all have screens in front of them so they can see all the pumps. So if there is an overflow situation happen, they can turn it off and react right away to clean it up. They're trained on safety, awareness. They wear lanyards that have a little button on them. If anything happens, they can hit that button at any point during their shift and notifies the SOC. And in most cases, if it's a serious emergency, they're able to notify the police right away as well to try and get an immediate reaction and response to any emergency.
And you indicated that the pickup window feature is not standard necessarily, although it may be. So what happens at the pickup window?
Yeah, so that's changed. So, I know everyone's struggling with the terminology. It used to be a drive-through, and that's the way it was originally designed. We've since changed it to a pickup window, and what that does is It removes the outside order point feature, removes the menu board, all those outside accessories, including some of the queuing for those order points, all goes away, and everything's driven by the app. So if you order from the Sheets app and the store happens to have a pickup window, then you can choose to either pick it up inside or go to the pickup window. If it doesn't have that option, then you just do the curbside, and then our employees will come out. The pickup window just makes it a little bit easier for the employees and a little safer. To be honest, they don't have to leave the building, and cars can just pour up to the window. And there's a 2 windows set up. So the first window is where they go in, they pay for their order if they haven't already on the app. And if the order's not quite ready, we pull them to the second window just in case someone else pulls up, and then we can give that first order out for the second window.
And at peak hours, what is the typical number of cars that you might see at the pickup queuing station?
And that's a unique feature of the Sheets drive-thru. It's not like a Chick-fil-A or a McDonald's. At peak, we're looking at 2 cars. It was never designed for speed. It was always designed for just an added convenience for our customers. So 2 is our peak, and that's based off of an average across the company of all the drive-thru and now pickup window sites.
And did you hear the question posed earlier regarding how to keep it safe and not create weird U-turn situations trying to come off of Route 100 and into that pickup area? What kinds of things does Sheets typically do to handle that movement?
Yeah, we employ all kinds of different signs to your point that we have do not enter signs. We have a hashed out area that's hashed out in red. It says drive-through pickup area. We have a lot of arrows throughout the entire site to try to help direct traffic in which way they should proceed around the site. That's pretty much it.
I don't have any further questions for our Sheets representative, but if the board does, I'm happy to entertain them.
Good.
Yeah, a couple of questions. I mean, does the Sheets on Citroni, does that have a pickup window?
No, we don't have one there.
So this is new to the township then?
Yes, sir.
So let me ask a question, because I can see myself doing this, right? So you get there and you're like, oh, I gotta order it by the app, and then you're fumbling with the app, and then you gotta plug in your credit card because you don't have that in there. And before you know it, you're in there for 5 minutes. I mean, how do you, I mean, I've done it, but I pulled off to the side. But I can see myself, but how do you control that?
Absolutely, great question. That does happen.
Yeah.
I would probably do the same thing. I do have the app. I kind of have to. But the order points inside. The registers inside have an order point feature. So if you're a customer, you pull up, you're like, I didn't place an order. You can tell the employee right there through the window. They can plug it in for you. Now you may have to pull up and wait a little bit for your order to get ready. Because the benefit of having the app is you can order from home and then go pick it up, and it's usually
Sure.
get there.
No, I was just curious, because otherwise I could see myself fumbling and take way more than the 2 queue that I.
Understood.
All right. I think the only other questions. Were there any other questions? I think that's all I have for now. If I think of it, I'll let you know.
And just to confirm, there are no menu boards on the outside.
No, and even to that point, our menu boards really, because we never were. You've seen anyone who's been to Sheets, you've seen we have an extensive selection. So it would be a menu board about the size of a billboard to fit everything on there. So all it really does, it's like a quick advertisement of different things, like go to this window for this item, or if we're featuring something, we might advertise it there. So it functions more like an advertising board than a menu board.
Okay. I had one more question, and going back to truck parking. I don't know if it's obsessed with that, but we have a lot of truck parking issues in the township. Are you familiar with any trucks that have been parking on the Citronia Road internally that they're not supposed to?
I'm not personally. Once the store's built, I'm kind of removed from it, so I'm not personally familiar with it. I know we'll employ signs. We do have sites where, just like this, we're near, our site out in Tatham, where we're near industrial parks, and it happens. And our employees are trained to go out. If they're sitting there, they're trained to go out and ask them to move. We do have signs that line the shared roads that say no truck parking. I don't know how the cameras will be set up, and we can talk about this with our operations group, but they should be able to capture that road coming in so we can watch for that. But if there's a serious situation where they just won't move or they're creating a traffic issue,
Yeah.
then our security operations center will get involved and we'll probably engage local police to.
Yeah, my only thought here is, we have a lot of trucks in our township, and, God bless them, they need a place to park, they want to come in and have a hot dog or something. But if you're not, you don't have, my only concern is if you don't have the parking for it and you don't plan for it, then the potential for unsafe condition exists because you haven't made accommodations, and that way it becomes a much more sensitive issue when you do have those trucks. So I would ask you to look at both this and the Citronia situation just to make sure you've thought of that. Okay.
Yeah.
Just a question about the advertised report that you talked about. Where's that going to be?
It's not. We with the new pickup window feature, that goes away.
So there's no
that's-
signage at all. That was more of an example of what you
Yeah,
would do in other circumstances.
the drive-through of the past was designed that. The new pickup window doesn't have that in at all.
Okay, so there's no electronic signage on the side of the building related to the pickup window?
No.
The particularly curious design of this inside the Windsor access and the Route 100 access, these sort of two diametrically opposed accesses to the sheets. Is that a common traffic condition that when you do site selection you have to deal with?
So this is unique because the full access on Tillman is quite far back from the site. But in most of our sites, we have at least one full access driveway and one partial access, whether it's right in only, right in, right out, right in, right out with the left in. But we always have at least one full access driveway that gets us out to a traffic signal. So the Tillman-Windsor intersection would be that driveway.
Okay, but I guess it's leaning into the interior traffic circulation questions that I asked the engineer as well. And it's because of the unique nature of the way this is set up with broad, covering a corner of an intersection and sort of coming the way it does and the way it's set up where the Windsor access is going to require either some pretty extensive signage that's drive around the entire building, please, before you get into the drive-through. So long sign and tough to enforce. What I'm trying to get at, Mr. Smith, is there a history in the sheet's site location that you can talk to us about the level of signage and entry point from the Windsor Tillman entrance that gives us some confidence that this has been dealt with by sheets before. This sort of trying to prevent an awkward turn movement for vehicles to make it to the pickup window.
So you're saying when they come in off of the Windsor Road driveway, that's probably a better idea, and come around. Oh, the rotation. Okay, well,
Because the Route 100 access, Mr. Grande talked about, it's going to be directed counterclockwise moving around the building rather than do a weird sharp U-turn. And when I talked to Mr. Grande, we talked about signage as well on that Windsor access to make sure that we're not doing a cutoff turn, a very sharp left and a very sharp right to the pickup window. What I'm asking is,
I see. I understand.
in this sort of unique traffic setup, is this something that in your experience as a site selector you've seen before and that the sheets handled before successfully?
I'm sure I have. I can't recall any specifically, but I do know that we use extensive signage, and if that's what it takes to try to mitigate those awkward maneuvers, we'll absolutely explore that, and I know we have extensive signage at our disposal through our company that we can employ here to try to mitigate that maneuver.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a good point.
Nothing else from me.
Yeah, I think the signage plan is going to be pretty critical based on everything that we're hearing. And I think Chair Fleischer has a good point that, coming in from Windsor, it's going to be a little awkward to get to that. I guess you have to go, I understand you have to go around clockwise from the south, right? Is that how you would do it?
You would go around, I guess, yeah, it would be counterclockwise. You go past the store, come in, and go around from the back to catch the drive-through window.
You have to go that way. And I thought the drive-through window is right here.
Yeah, but it's coming from this way.
Yeah, it's from the right.
Where's the drive-through window?
Right here, but it enters from here. It enters from the drive-through entrance is from the east side of the building.
Yeah.
That's right, yes.
So in order to enter the drive-through window from the east side of the window from the Windsor entrance, the encouragement would be to go completely counterclockwise to do a full circle around the building 360 degrees.
Right.
consistent with the access from Route 100, which is also encouraging that counterclockwise movement.
If you're trying to get a convenience store, that's not a very convenient process, right? You have to go around 360.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the good thing is at peak, we're looking at 2 cars per hour. So it's not like
I'm still confused, to be honest with you. So you have to go all the way around here?
Yep.
And you have to, isn't this the, right here?
You're entering from the east side,
Yeah,
and you go this way. You go east to west. So entering from Route 100, please correct me where I'm wrong. Entering from Route 100, the encouragement is to go, instead of an awkward U-turn here
yeah.
at the east side of the building, is to do a counterclockwise
Oh,
movement
okay.
all the way around.
So it's right here.
And in order to make it consistent from the Windsor entrance, it would be a full 360-degree counterclockwise movement that's encouraged so that we don't have that awkward U-turn that can create some traffic difficulties.
It seems a tough order. I mean, I don't know if people will do that or not, try to take a shortcut because it's a long, to drive around the store.
But that's where Mr. Smith indicated that they're going to work with township
Okay,
officials
yeah, I
to
just-
try to make sure that
To me, it's not intuitive. I mean,
there's some signage and some sort of developed plan to make sure that we discourage that sort of shortcut and encourage the proper flow of traffic within the site.
okay.
Andrew?
Just for the record, I know some of the answers to these questions, but I just want to put them on the record. And going back to what the supervisors were asking you, the pickup window will not be, there's not going to be a separation. In other words, there's not going to be curbing or a median in between the building and the parking area, correct?
No, that's.
So they don't have to enter exactly at that point that's designated on A4 with the white hashing?
Right, I think that's just painting.
Okay.
Yeah, striping.
All right. Will there be any high-speed diesel pumps?
Just, there'll be auto diesel, but no high-speed diesel.
Okay. Will the store provide any outdoor music or loudspeakers or anything like that?
Yeah, all of our stores have speakers outside, but they can be controlled inside the store by the store managers.
Okay. So there will be compliance with any noise ordinance complaints
Yes.
with regards to that. Will there also be pull-up parking spaces, or is this going to be limited to, in other words, some of the sheets have the bollards with the numbers on, you call up and you say that you're at parking space 36 and they'll come out? Or is it going to be limited to the window?
The the pickup window eliminates the need for the curbside.
Okay.
So any store that doesn't have a pickup window or drive-through, they would have the curbside feature.
Okay. Will there be order menus on the pumps themselves? I think I've seen that some. I don't know what
No.
stores that's been.
We sampled that years ago up in Altoona, but no, we don't do order points of the pumps at all. They're just, and with this new pickup window feature, there's no outdoor order points at all. That goes away completely.
Okay. And then as far as the lighting of the parking lot, I know there's ordinance requirements, but I don't know if it goes as far as saying, dark sky lighting. Is that something that you would agree to look into?
Yeah, we have state-of-the-art LED light fixtures that we use that can be very focused downward. They don't shine out. So whatever the ordinance requires, yeah, we'll buy them.
Okay. And that may go a step beyond what the ordinance requires with the dark sky, but you'll work with the township.
That's actually in the ordinance.
It is now?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is.
Oh, it is? Okay. Oh, we were working on it.
Okay. Lastly, there's been a lot of testimony related to safety concerns and how you would address those, such as the double tank walls and the breakaway features. Would you agree as a condition that you'll comply with what you testified and put on the record this evening as far as those implementing those safety features?
Oh yeah, that's standard for us.
Okay.
That's how all of our sites are designed that way. Yeah.
I just, rather than trying to capture every single point that you brought up, I'd just like to make a condition upon your testimony.
Sure.
And I've no further questions.
And I have one because I heard two different things about diesel pumps. I thought I heard just, I heard it, I thought that, I heard that was not gonna be any diesel, then I heard it's gonna be diesel, but they're not high speed, so. could you
Yeah,
clarify that?
he has the high-speed diesel, which is what you have at your standard truck stop. We would have auto diesel, so cars that use.
Automobile diesel, okay, I thought I heard you
Yes.
say no diesel, so that's why I was.
No truck diesel.
No truck diesel, okay, so the stalls are not designed for a truck to pull in, but it would be automobile
Correct.
diesel. Thank you for the clarification.
Does anyone from the audience have any questions for the witness? Please come forward and use the microphone, introduce yourself. State your address, please.
I'm Marty Hetrick, 294 Saltgrass Drive in Allentown. I have a question for him. In 1966, I was at a gas pump in Beaumont, Texas. A person got out of the car, touched the nozzle, and that car exploded. I heard you say that nozzles will pull apart. Are the new nozzles preventing the gas fumes from coming out?
I can't speak, I'm not an expert on this, but just what I know about it is that cars today have vapor collectors built into them, they're required. So our pumps don't have the vapor collectors anymore, because that's not required, because cars now have them. That's
What you do is just like the days we have here. You get out and you pump gas. You get in the car because it's too cold to stand outside. You slide across your seat and you come out and you touch that handle and it sparks. When you said that, I'm sitting back there, 1966 in Beaumont. I saw that explosion. I was at that, and that's what I had a flashback.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the public? Attorney Berger, just from a scheduling perspective, since we're about an hour and 20 minutes in, and there are a bunch of people who, I think there's another project on the agenda tonight that people want to be heard on. How much longer do you have your
We
presentation?
have the traffic engineer.
That's gonna be quick, I'm sure. You think about half an hour?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not gonna take very long with him, but.
I didn't choose you to do it, so I chose my words carefully. Can I, and if it's okay, can I get a sense from the audience here, is there anyone who wants to be heard separately or make an objector's case presentation with regards to this project of Sheets? Mr. Gross. Okay, I'm just trying to protect our time. I guess we'll just power through the best we can and see where we go. It doesn't look like it's gonna be that long. Want to make sure, Mr. Gross, you're gonna have plenty of opportunity, just kind of want to give you your opportunity to speak, so. Have at it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. Please state your name for the record
It is Eric M. Mounts,
and your employer, please,
Traffic Planning and Design Incorporated.
and how long have you been there?
I have been with the company for a little over 23 years.
And what type of licensure do you have?
I am a registered professional engineer in the state of Pennsylvania as well as Virginia, and I hold certification as a professional traffic operations engineer.
I'd like to just have him recognized as an expert in traffic.
That's fine.
There are no objections.
I'm not actually gonna go.
Okay.
And just for, this will be A6, I
Oh,
believe?
yes, I'm sorry, I handed that out. That'll be A6. Is CV. And what is your relationship to Sheets?
I am the traffic engineer for the project.
And so you have designed the permitting that will be needed for the improvements for this particular project with the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation?
Yes, we will be handling the applicable coordination with PennDOT.
And have you heard the earlier testimony regarding site circulation? Is there anything that you'd like to add to that testimony?
Not at this time.
And did you review the traffic-related comments that we received from the traffic engineer
Yes,
for
I
the
have.
township? And are both the Tillman Street and Route 100, are they both state roadways?
They are.
And so is exclusive jurisdiction over those roadways with PennDOT for both?
That is correct.
And have you made application to PennDOT for this project?
We have made an application, a scoping application to PennDOT, which is required for any development accessing roadways that they own and maintain. And following the application, we did recently receive a round of comments to be addressed as we move forward.
And in your professional opinion, will the traffic generated by the proposed use be fully accommodated with the existing medium volume driveway permits for the two accessways?
It is my opinion that it will be.
Would you familiarize the board a little bit with those permits?
Absolutely. So by way of background, the existing access locations for this property to both Route 100 and Tillman Street were previously permitted by PennDOT back in 2004 as medium volume driveways. And that was in conjunction with a township-led project that provided improvements at the intersection of Route 100 and Tillman Street. So from the research we have done, plans we have pulled, the township had a programming project at that time in the early 2000s to provide improvements at that intersection, to provide the widening and the improvements that you see generally as they exist today at that intersection. At that time, those improvements were extending along the property frontage for this subject property on both Route 100 and Tillman Street. The landowner at the time, which was Harmony Office at that same time, developed a sketch plan that showed some assumed uses on that property, which were a high turnover restaurant and I believe it was a 200,000 square foot office building for that property. Utilized that traffic and made application to PennDOT to get permits for both of those driveways such that they could be constructed at the same time as the improvement project for the intersection. Based on the volume projections for those assumed uses, those two driveways were classified as medium volume driveways. And that means basically PennDOT has classifications for driveways based on those volumes. So there's a threshold for a low volume driveway, medium volume driveway, high volume driveway. Both those driveways fall under that medium volume classification. Where we're at, the proposed Sheets development is anticipated to have a similar traffic generation as to what was assumed under that prior application for what those driveways are permitted at, and both driveways are anticipated to remain with medium volume classification.
And do you foresee PennDOT requiring any further traffic mitigation measures?
So we have taken the step. The driveways were permitted, planned for. We have taken the step as necessary with this conditional use application, as well as I mentioned, with PennDOT, because it is their roadways. We have prepared a traffic impact study that was included with this application that has been reviewed by the township engineer. Comments are received, have been discussed at this point preliminarily, and we intend to continue working through those as part of the land development process. Based on the meeting we had earlier this week, do not anticipate any major hurdles working through those comments. Findings of that do show that those two existing access points are designed and can accommodate the traffic from the proposed Sheets as currently contemplated. And again, I'll reiterate, it's similar traffic to what was originally planned for there. The traffic study did look at the intersection of Route 100 and Tillman Street, as well as the adjacent intersection to the west on Main Street that serves the shopping centers. In addition to the access, obviously. What we've found is that the findings are that the traffic from the Sheets development will not result in any changes in overall intersection level of service at any of those intersections. And we also do comply with the applicable PennDOT criteria as well. So that was a long-winded way of saying we do not anticipate requiring mitigation, but that is still subject to continuing to coordinate with the township's engineer through the land development process and PennDOT through their process. And I think one critical item I want to note that we had a discussion with the Planning Commission on just general traffic for Sheets, and I think it's worth pointing out, and when I say Sheets, convenience stores in general, the traffic associated with them is quantified in two regards. There's new trips, which are traffic that is making a trip to that facility for the sole purpose of visiting to use the facility. So to buy a cup of coffee, to get gas, pick up a sandwich, for example. I'm leaving my home, driving there, driving back home, sole purpose for that trip. The other type of trip is pass-by trip, which is somebody who is already on the adjacent roadway network, traveling past this site on a regular basis. They deviate from that trip and use this site because it is now located in that facility, and then continue on their way. So they're not new to the area, they're just deviating from their everyday traffic patterns. Based on information that's published by the Institute of Transportation Engineers, which is what we use as the basis for all traffic studies and projections for traffic. It's in the requirement of most municipal ordinances, it's a requirement of PennDOT. That estimates that the pass-by trips for convenience stores is approximately 75%, meaning 75% of the traffic visiting those stores are already on the surrounding roadways. And why I wanted to point that out, it's important in while you need to manage the traffic for a convenience store and make sure you have safe and convenient access, they do not add much traffic at the external intersections or off-site intersections in the area because of that pass-by nature of the developments. And for example, for this particular site of this store size, number of fueling positions, the study for what we've analyzed is estimating approximately 70 to 100 additional peak hour trips, meaning in the busiest hour in the AM commuter peak, PM commuter peak, or this Saturday time period, you would be looking at, like I said, 70 to 100 trips in that peak hour. That's generally on average 1 or 2 new trips added to the study area every minute. So on average every minute. So just imagine over the course of a minute, I watch an intersection. As a result of the sheets, it might add 1 or 2 per minute to it. So point being, it's not a significant generator at the surrounding roadway intersections. As I said, it's managing the access points, which we feel the current design does.
And relative to the Planning Commission recommendation regarding the consideration of any alteration to that median on Route 100, is that something that would require PennDOT to make a determination on?
That is correct. Route 100 is a state roadway. The subject median that was discussed earlier, the context of that is there is an existing median that extends to the north of the existing right-in, right-out driveway. That median extends approximately 150 to 175 feet past that driveway today. We were asked to look at the feasibility of potentially extending that to prohibit U-turns. That is, as I said, it's within PennDOT's right of way. So if that were to be considered, it would be subject to PennDOT's review and ultimate approval.
And that's all I have for him. So it's up to you now.
I have a lot of questions if somebody else wants to go first.
You've been waiting patiently, Sonny.
No, actually not too patient. Go ahead. I really wanted to go. So, no, you had earlier, I'm sorry, is it Jessica? Your name? Attorney Burkhardt, I'm sorry. So, you had said, Attorney Burkhardt, that you were intended to meet all of the requirements. And I just want to clarify, is the median strip part of that?
So there aren't any specific median requirements, ordinance-driven, PennDOT-driven for the median. The median is a typical design provision in a lot of cases provided for when you have right-in, right-out, or let me say restricted access. So for the example of the Citronia project to the south here, I had worked on that a number of years ago. A lot of discussion about the design of the access to Trexlertown Road.
Yeah.
That ultimately ended up with a median down on Trexlertown Road to restrict that movement.
So I mean, I know I'm being cautious of time. So what I'm hearing is not on there now, but I think I heard you say that you're working with PennDOT.
It was a pointed discussion following the Planning Commission meeting with township staff and their engineers over this week, and we've committed to having that discussion with PennDOT about the possibility.
Okay, so it's in discussion right now. I didn't know if it advanced to beyond that. That was.
No, we just had the discussion on Monday.
Okay, that's I should have probably started. PennDOT works really fast. I'm surprised. All right. Question about, I did read through the traffic impact study. It's very lengthy and very thorough. In there you had traffic peak hours, AM, AM and PM of 7 to 9 and 4 to 6. I'm curious, is that a custom review? Like you looked at the location in in this use here and come up with those peak hours, or is that a kind of like a standard? Because the reason why I'm asking is that I'm wondering with all of the warehouses that we have in the area, that do the hours you pick coincide with the shift change?
So just for one point of clarification, the traffic counts that we utilized for this were conducted from 6 in the morning till 9 in the morning.
Okay.
And in the afternoon from 3 in the afternoon until 6 in the afternoon. And it's that very specific reason that you brought up with such shift changes and honestly, some of the changes since COVID that have happened with commuting. It used to traditionally be 7 to 9 and 4 to 6 that we would count. We've extended it that hour on either side of that. And then in this instance, for the convenience store users, their commuter peaks typically fall within those two windows as well.
Okay, that's what I was wondering, because it seemed to me the potential for the more variability. So thank you for that. You mentioned the 75% pass through. It seems like a really exact number for something that one would imagine to be difficult to measure. So I'm curious, is there a range that you go by, or is it an absolute number?
So I can tell you, I have firsthand experience of this. When I started with the company, we were part of the data collection that ultimately came up with these percentages.
Okay.
So the way it is done is we actually went out and did field surveys at numerous convenience stores, not only in Pennsylvania, but up and down the East Coast, and surveyed people, compiled that data that ultimately led to what percent at the particular store we were at. So it was real world conditions, came up with what those percentages of people using each store were and the type of trip. We then compile that, and it's not just us. We've other engineering companies or societies throughout the nation send this data into ITE.
Okay.
They compile it, and there's a listing of convenience stores and pass by data for a particular store, and then there's averages. So when I speak to numbers, when I say 75%, the exact numbers which are based on averages are in the AM, it's 76%, and in the PM, it's 75%.
It's surprisingly very precise, so I just was wondering about that. Okay.
Yeah, there's some that are higher, some that are lower. We use the average.
Okay, got you. In the HRG review letter of January 16th, I'm not sure which exhibit that is. They listed some concerns regarding lack of shoulders, sight distance, safe speed approaching Tillman when approaching Windsor. Are you familiar with those concerns, and are you aligned with addressing some of the suggestions for that? Installing a westbound lane was, I think, one of the suggestions. I think there were a couple of suggestions in there.
It was discussed, and during the call we had earlier this week with staff, we are going to be evaluating what's in the comment in conjunction with revisions to the traffic study. We did talk about the need for the lane is based on warrants. So we have agreed we're going to provide HRG with the applicable warrants for that lane, and then discuss moving forward based on the findings of that warrant analysis.
Okay, so all right. So you're comfortable. I think the way it's written, you're going to comply to HRG review letter. You're okay with it.
We are going to comply with providing the analysis for that right turn lane, and then continue to work with HRG pending the findings of that.
Okay.
The findings, just to be clear, show that it doesn't meet warrants. So they're going to provide the information and make sure that the township, agrees or disagrees, and then take it from there.
All right. I had some questions about the traffic study, and I don't know if it's an HRG question or your question. What I was curious about was, I know that the basis for the traffic study was, I've heard it referred as urban minor arterial, and I think you might have referred it as minor arterial in the Tillman Street. I'm not sure exactly what I'm gonna have to word before. I'm not a traffic engineer, so the segment number is for this. Do you know what the segment number is for this section of Tillman?
Are you referring to the state route number?
No, I think there's a state route number, which I think is different than the segment number, the section of the.
Yeah, so I just want to make sure we're on the same page. So
Yeah.
there's a number associated with the state route, and then they are broken
That's what
into
I'm-
segments.
Yeah, I'm looking at the
And then
segment.
there's, within the segment, then there's certain ranges of offsets. I don't have it off the top of my head, but I probably could find it for you.
Only reason I'm asking is, I know that, that the Lehigh Valley, Planning, the Transportation Subcommittee published a report, called the Lehigh Valley Update of Roadway Functional Classification Systems on September 10th of 2025. And in that report, portions of Tillman Street in Upper McCountry Township had their functional road classifications changed from urban minor arterial to other principal arterial. And I noticed that the traffic impact study had assumed minor arterial, which I assumed to mean urban minor arterial, because that's what the Lehigh Valley Planning Commission report had indicated. But but there are sections of the town that of Tillman Street have changed to our other principal arterial. So I was, because it's a fairly recent update in September, I was wondering if you caught that change and whether or not, if that change is implemented in that area, that segment number, how would that impact the study?
So a few things. First, your original question, based on the existing HOP permit for the Tillman Street access at Windsor Drive, that is State Route 1002 and it's segment 30 is the segment. To your specific question, what is listed in the traffic study for roadway classification is based upon PennDOT, what they call functional classification, which identifies the roadways. So the minor arterial classification is actually a PennDOT classification, which still applies today. At the end of the day, that's honestly, it's a nomenclature thing for the traffic study to listing what the roadway type is. It doesn't really change any of the volume development, the capacity analyses that go into the preparation of the study.
Okay, well, the reason I'm at is, so under segment number 30, that classification is no longer urban minor arterial, it's other principal arterial. And that's why, and I'm kind of looking into both of you, but maybe you have the answer, but I'm just wondering.
We checked it out.
Okay.
Exactly what Eric said earlier
Okay.
was that it won't change the traffic analysis. It just really deals with the width of the roadway and what should be designed there.
Okay, so you don't think this is a material issue?
No, it is
That's
not.
all I'm asking. I wanted to make sure if it's material or not, or whether we needed to tweak the traffic study. That's all I'm asking. And let me think here. And I'll ask you, because it was the township engineer's report, you had noticed some inconsistencies with the TIS report. I think it had to do with prior studies.
So just for clarity of the record, if you want to ask our township engineer, let's finish with this traffic engineer first. And then we'll have testimony from someone who needs to be sworn in before you.
You're absolutely right. So I think most of my other stuff is probably going to be with. So, but I wasn't quite sure who to answer to. I don't think I have anything more for the applicant. Thank you.
I have one brief procedural question, and then I actually have a substantive question. So because Supervisor Guy referenced the traffic study, would you have an objection to marking the traffic study as A7, just so that we have a record of it, so that the back and forth that happened between Supervisor Guy and Eric can be referenced to something in the record? So we'll have the traffic study, actual traffic study marked as A7.
Okay, thank you.
And I had a question, Mr. Mons, about the Windsor-Tillman access road. And the 2004, the Route 100 and the Tillman access pieces were created as stubs. Yeah. And in doing so, do you have an understanding when they were classified as medium volume driveways? Were they classified individually as medium volume driveways for individual uses, meaning that the Tillman-Windsor access was for Lot 2, while the Route 100 was for Lot 1?
No, it's independently, and it's at that time, it's similar to what is done today. So you look at, I'm going to use round numbers here, it may not be specific, but if the site is anticipated to generate 4,000 trips per day total, and then you do a traffic study and distribute and say 2,500 of those are on the Route 100 driveway and 1,500 are on the Tillman Street driveway. You take those volumes at each respective driveway and figure out which classification level you fall within. Based on those assumptions that I talked about for the restaurant and the office use, they were both, and it's actually in the traffic study in an appendix, the actual permits. It has the trips that were assumed for both, and they are both medium volume classification.
Okay. So if I can, I'm just a lawyer, I'm not nearly as versed as the Attorney Gasusian probably doesn't know this as well.
Sure I don't.
So when they did the medium volume driveway classification for these two access points, they did a combined math of the two proposed generalized uses, and then did a separate carve out to sort of say one will be 2,000, the other will be 2,000, just to use big fat round numbers. So the reason I'm asking is if the Route 100 access piece is just for the sheets, so I have very little concern that that's going to meet past the medium access driveway based on what you testified today. The concern I have is that the Tillman Windsor piece, that access driveway is going to be used for two uses. So it's a single access for two uses, whereas the Route 100 single access for a single use. In your expert opinion, you don't have a concern that the dual use of that will push it past its current classification?
No, and the traffic study actually has a calculation of the number of trips anticipated to utilize each respective driveway for the sheet's use, and has calculations that were reviewed in conjunction with the township's review to show that those are still both medium volume driveways. So we are not pushing it to a different classification.
Okay, and I guess from a land use perspective more than a zoning perspective, but there'd be some sort of condition that whatever use comes to lot 2 would be restricted by trips and make that remain as a medium access driveway.
Or they'll have to make improvements.
Yeah, okay.
And actually the HOP, PennDOT, actually the response back from PennDOT, just to clarify that, when we submitted for this particular use, PennDOT considers a change in use on a property or an additional use an opportunity to reevaluate the permit. So that is actually the response we got back, and what we're going to be doing is reevaluating to assure that there's no change.
So for the sheets use, PennDOT's been fine as medium access driveway, medium volume driveway designation, and if and when something else comes to lot 2, you're saying PennDOT's going to take that as an opportunity to first force you to file more permits and fees, but then reevaluate with the uses and make sure that that driveway still fits that purpose.
Correct. And assuming your township and engineers work in the same fashion they are for this project, they asked that we also go approach PennDOT. So not that PennDOT's policing it, but your staff and engineers said approach PennDOT to clarify.
It's just making sure that what was done 22 years ago is going to hold up with whatever uses are there, especially since we don't know what's going in lot 2 now. But we have one driveway that has a dual use where the other driveway access only has a single use.
Understood.
All right, thank you. I got nothing else. Andrew.
I have no questions.
Public? Anyone from the public want to ask Mr. Mounds any questions? Back to you. Or I guess to Attorney Burkhardt.
Do you have any other witnesses?
We do not have any other witnesses. Witnesses, if there are any other pieces of input that you want to get from the staff, now would be a good time for that.
Okay, so I guess the technical would be the applicant rests.
The applicant rests, other than a chance to maybe rebut anything that may come out.
Certainly, and you move to enter your exhibits A1 through A7.
Yes.
A7, I guess,
Is the traffic study.
is
We can leave
by
it as an
reference,
applicant,
correct?
that's fine.
Yeah.
We refer to it.
Okay.
Wonder how do you want to run with having staff input versus?
Well, I think there's,
If he wants to register.
do we want to have the testimony from the public that wanted to put some facts on the record?
Okay.
And then we'll move to, I think with handling staff, I would like to see that the board ask questions and have them present answers in response to your questions.
Okay. With Mr. Gross, I believe you identified yourself as an objector, so why don't you come on up?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Michael Gross again. I'm here speaking on behalf of actually two parties. First is my wife, Abigail Gross. She owns 7619 Tillman Street, where she owns a building and operates Gross Law out of. And also, I'm speaking for Dr. and Mrs. Daniel and Alex Soroka, sitting in the back here. They asked me if I would help convey some of their concerns.
Hold on one second. Will you swear him in before he starts?
Yes, he needs to be sworn in because previously he just asked a question, so he was not sworn in.
Okay. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
And procedurally, there is a small issue with you representing people, unless you're an attorney. There's some really kind of tricky little avenues we run, that the law in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania is that only attorneys can represent non-family members at a meeting like this, and even with family members, it gets a little sketchy.
Okay.
So I guess with the representative of your wife who operates, I assume, a neighboring property in Gross Law.
Yes, she's neighbors with the Sorokas.
Okay. But with the Sorokas, I think I'm gonna have a small issue, and I don't think I'm out of line to do that, to have him represent a party that has the ability to represent themselves when he's not counsel.
Actually, you and I were involved with a matter where it was determined that appearing before a board such as yourself is the practice of law. So I agree with you that presents a problem for representation. However, I think if he echoes the concerns as his own concerns, that would be okay.
To the extent that they merge together those concerns, I think there's no problem.
Okay.
But for the purposes of appearance, just to protect you and us.
Okay.
We'll have you enter just on behalf of your wife.
That'll work.
And just talk about generalities a little bit when we get to that, just so that we don't have a problem. And I assume, Terry Brooker, you don't have an objection to that?
I don't. I do have a question. Do you own the property with your wife?
Only as chattel, but not, it's been solely in her name.
Any objection status?
And I made some packets for you, just so that way I have something to reference. Is it okay if I bring them up to you?
Please.
I only made 4 copies, unfortunately, but I can give you mine as soon as I'm done with it.
Why don't you give her mine and I'll share with these guys.
Okay.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, and the first thing that's not on there, completely on behalf of my wife. So my wife, when you send out notice of the zoning, my wife did not receive any contact regarding the zoning. We did confirm with Alberta and Marv that she did not receive the mailing and the notice for the planning commission meeting. She did let them know, so I just wanted to make sure that is brought to your attention that she did not have the opportunity to plan before the planning meeting. And the only reason we found out about this was because the Sorokas let us know. So just so that you are aware of that. Okay, so I'm going to focus on really on 3 things tonight. The first is the 3 areas of occurrence are health, safety, and quality of life. For health, my wife spends between 50 and 60 hours at her law office every week. Now, according to the National Institute of Health and the Columbia School of Public Health, which is Exhibit 1 in your packet, living near a gas station poses potential health risks due to chronic exposure to volatile organic compounds. Specifically, and probably most notable, is benzene. And with exposure to those VOCs, key hazards include increased cancer risk, respiratory issues, neurological symptoms, and skin and sensory irritation. Now, risks are highest between 150 and 100 meters, but especially with throughput stations. And that would put my wife's office, I think, clearly in that zone. And for a place where she's at 6 days a week with, I'd certainly say, an excessive amount of hours, I worry on how this would impact her and also the tenants that she has sharing the building with her. And the other thing I just want to point out about benzene, it's some kind of cool research. Benzene is 2.7 times heavier than our air. So that way it lies lower than our air. and that it kind of follows the path of least resistance downhill. And the concern with that is, with my wife's office, is downhill from this proposed development. And if that could be something that could be potentially damaging to her health. Next one is safety. Both the FBI Crime Data Explorer, that's Exhibit 2, that was from 2021 to 2026, and the Journal of Criminal Justice, that is Exhibit 3, have published information demonstrating gas stations and convenience stores as considered high-risk hotspot locations for crime. And as you all know, there have been 2 shootings resulting in death at the Wawa gas station convenience store off of Shantz Road. And I know you're aware of it, but that is Exhibit 4. And even in 2024, the Sheetz Company itself addressed Congress to speak about the troubling level of crime, particularly in stores that operate 24/7, 365 days a year. And that letter is Exhibit 5 in that packet. And you can research all these things. You can find them yourself. The last one is quality of life, just quality of life. With this proposed development, we are at my wife's building all the time. We have 4 little boys. They're beautiful. It's a stopping point for us from where we live to wherever we're going. It's a concern because we go there and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful place. We have beautiful neighbors. Our concern is there will never be a dark night there again. Even with downward lighting, there's still going to be light pollution. Even with cars, even if they're not making barely any noise, when you're talking about all the traffic trips, I believe they said the other week about 1,800 cars per day. And I understand the old traffic versus the new traffic, but there's still noise associated with traffic. That could impede anyone who is working there or anyone who would ever choose to live there if we would ever decide to turn its neighborhood commercial lot. If we would ever decide to make it into a single family residence, which I believe we have the right to, it would certainly be a horrible spot for that and limit our opportunity if we would ever want to use the lot for a living situation. So those are my comments. I do appreciate your time. Do you have any questions for me?
No.
Just maybe to confirm which one is the building.
Yeah,
Drawing.
of course.
Mind pointing it out?
She
Is
is-
this one, but
No. So that's the Zaroka's right there, and that's my wife's building right there.
Just for the
Yeah.
record, can you,
It's the elongated building to the south, immediately south to the proposed Sheetz development of Lot 1 underneath what I believe to be an infiltration base.
Any other questions I can help with?
no, but would you like to enter this as an exhibit?
Yes, please.
Okay. We'll mark this objector. Are you guys an objector or?
As an objector, yes, sir.
Okay, objector 1.
1 through 5?
1.
Are you doing the whole packet as one?
I think that's probably the easiest way to do it. It's not, they're not stapled. I think that's the easiest way to do it.
Any questions?
When was the property purchased?
I think it was 2019, 2019, 2018, something like that.
Do you know what the zoning permitted on this property when you purchased the property?
For her property or the property around it?
Do you happen to know what the Sheetz property was zoned for when you purchased the law firm property?
I did not know.
Has there been a change in zoning since you've owned it?
I'm unaware.
So for all that you know, a Sheetz could have been permitted by conditional use when you purchased the property?
Correct.
Okay. That's all.
And one last thing I'd just like to add, with the intersection of Tillman Street and Route 100, as you all know, it's a rough spot. It's a rough spot. Every time, and there's quite a few accidents there, and every time there is an accident there, it is a disruption to business day because there's noise anytime an ambulance comes, fire trucks come, police come, anything like that. My wife's staff numerous times is going out to offer water and support to people that were just in accidents. It is an absolute disruption. So any additional traffic that does go through that intersection, will be a continued disruption to her work. But I do appreciate your time and I appreciate what you do. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Somebody else.
We've one more member of the public.
Yes, good evening. My name is Daniel Zaruka, and my wife and I live at 7617 Tillman Street. And I'm just saying that what Mike has said, we also agree with. And as you can tell, my voice is not that strong. So I'd ask Mike, we had asked Mike to speak on our behalf. But we are in agreement with what he has said. We have lived there since May of 1971.
Thank you.
That's it. Do I have to be sworn in or not?
Are you finished? You're finished with your testimony. Are you just joining in on
Yes,
what?
I'm saying we agree with.
We'll swear you in just for the record.
Can you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Thank you.
So we'll just register that you and your wife are adopting what the comments and the position that Mr. Roche enunciated earlier.
Yes, thank you.
I have no questions of township staff or consultants. As I said before, if the board would like to elicit some testimony from township staff or consultants, you can do so now.
Yeah, I think that'd be good, especially in regards to the meeting that just happened on Monday. It sounds like it's been made reference a couple of times.
Attorney Burton, do you have any objection to that?
I do not.
Okay. So why don't we swear in our engineer?
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Can you go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody one more time?
Yes, my name is Sam Wojciechowski. I am a senior project manager for HRG Incorporated.
So in the first part of this hearing, we heard references made to a meeting that you had earlier this week to talk about some concerns with the applications. We'd love to hear from you about your level of confidence about how, first of all, maybe explain high level what those concerns were and what answer did the applicants provide to make you feel comfortable or not that your concerns will be met.
So our letter indicates that we had some concerns with the way that they conducted their study, and we had asked for some modifications. We clarified what the modifications we were looking for are, and they asked us push back a little bit on a couple of things. We explained why we thought that we were doing it, and for the most part, they have said they're going to go ahead and do all of our recommendations that we have asked for in our letter.
Sounds like you're satisfied with their response to your comments.
Yes.
Thank you.
Anything else? Sonny?
Yeah, so, and I apologize, I was a little out of order, but I think we've already addressed the issue I had with the functional classification system. In the township engineer's report, I believe there was some concern citing inconsistent numbers that were in the DIS report. I think they were relative to other reference reports, and that some of them they weren't consistent. You know what I'm referring to there?
Yes, yeah, I understand.
And what's your, again, was that a serious concern, or was that, how would you categorize your issue there?
So they made certain assumptions for each of the other assumptions based on a previous report that we had done for another convenience store in a nearby location. And we had talked about it with Eric Mounts and said some of these are applicable and some of them aren't, mostly because of the location and the time of the year that it was done back earlier in 2024.
So since we're relying on that traffic report, what do you think that those inconsistencies are going to be material?
No, I don't. They're not going to be material that it's going to change level of service or change a delay more than 2 seconds or 1 second, quite frankly.
Okay.
I'd be surprised if it gets that high.
All right. Well, when I read the inconsistencies, it just
Yeah.
The red flag for me to ask you. The question I had is, and I'm not a traffic engineer, but is there significant distance between the Route 100 intersection and the Windsor intersection, so that especially during peak hours or areas where there's high congestion, in the area, that it won't cause a problem?
Again, right now it's an existing condition. They've had to take into account what the background growth is going to have to be. They are showing very little increase from theirs to what the background growth. So in essence, it's the background growth that's causing the bigger problem.
I see. Okay. And so the other question I have is, does the LOS drops as detailed in paragraph 9 of your TIF review letter, is it considered to cause a significant traffic congestion?
That's actually, we were talking when looking for certain movements at the intersection. So the actual intersection function is as a whole. So that level of service drop for the entire intersection doesn't change, but it does do for just one movement. And we asked them to take a look at that and see if there's anything they can do to improve it.
Okay, and they're cooperating with that?
Yes.
Right. Okay. So, okay, all right. And do you think there's how much margin does the intersection of Tillman and Windsor have for additional traffic force considered to represent a traffic hazard or cause significant traffic congestion?
It doesn't have any. It has plenty.
It has plenty. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. You got me a little bit when you said it doesn't have any.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. And then do you feel that the applicant has significantly demonstrated the use will not result in or add to significant traffic hazard or significant traffic congestion?
So,
and then a second part of that is, what's the definition of significant?
So actually, in parentheses right after it says significant traffic congestion in the zoning ordinance, it says based upon a reduction in the overall levels of service at the nearest intersection in all compass directions. They do not have any in any of the 4 intersections that they've studied that have any level of services drops. So
Okay.
We don't have it overall. So that's where the definition comes from.
Thank you so much for that. And then just final question is, other than what was in the report now, has anything changed your mind? Or is there any additional conditions you would like to impose to make the use safer?
We were talking about the potential use of flexible delineators on the concrete island, and if not acceptable, to extend the concrete island by PennDOT, maybe even put them right onto the pavement of Route 100. I know they said that they would check with it. We do have that situation over at the Sheets on Route 100 by Centronia. There's 3 flexible delineators in there as well. So it's something that they are used to doing.
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with that term. What is that, flexible delineator?
Yes.
Stan, just to clarify on that, it was mentioned on Monday about the flexible delineators at the Jackson median. They're actually required, not necessarily because of turn restrictions. They're the red delineators that are actually for inlets. And that requires a delineator be placed, be at the middle of the road, side of the road, that delineates inlets. So they're actually for the 3 inlets that are along there, not necessarily turn movement restrictions. But to your point, we're committed to meeting with yourselves and PennDOT to talk about that median on Route 100.
Okay. Just for me, because I'm not injured. What are those?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's literally a stick of plastic about this tall that alerts you to a hazard, or there's another form of it called quick curb, which is essentially you put a piece of metal right on top of the double yellow line in the middle of the road, and you can snap plastic bollards basically into them to restrict alternative.
So they look like the ones you'd have to replace once in a while when somebody hits them, right?
Correct.
Or snow hits it with the
Oh, yeah,
snow.
snow plows, yeah. As long as, yeah, anyone over there. All right, that's all I have. Thank you so much. I don't have any more questions.
Nothing from me. Attorney Burkhardt, do you have any questions?
I don't have any more questions.
Andrew, anything?
So with that, we have all the exhibits entered. We can conclude the public hearing. Again, there's not going to be any decisions, but it is the consideration of the resolution and the approval of this is on the agenda for this evening. So with that, if you want to make a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
Thank you.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor of adjourning the public hearing, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
There's nobody opposing. I am gonna ask that we take, I know that everybody's here, I know that not everybody wanted to listen to that, so I apologize. I personally need like a 3-minute stand, stretch, and move break, so we're gonna go off the record, take a short recess. It's 9:10, we're gonna be back on the record at 9:15.
Don't break it.
All right, it is 9:16. My apologies for coming back late. But we are finally past item 2 on our agenda. Thank goodness at 9:16. We can move to item 3. I don't think there are any additions or deletions to the agenda, Bob, is that right? That is correct. So we're to 4, which normally is 1, which is the minutes and minutes and financials. I'll make a motion to dispense with the reading of the meeting minutes from January 5th, 2026, organization and general business meeting, and adopt them as presented and authorize the payment of the bills for the month of January, amount of $7,419,028.40. Is there a second for that?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Julian. Questions or concerns? Perfect. Seeing none, we can move to vote. All those in favor of approving the motion is made, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That passes. Presentations, grant awards, Mr. Griffin.
We do have a brief PowerPoint that will go up on the screen for you.
You want to throw your microphone on for us?
You want to come up, then I don't know.
We are first class operation here. You just come on out.
Okay. We're just going to switch to the next slide real quick to give an overview. Over the past 2 months, we've been very successful as a township in a team effort with 3 specific grant awards that we've received. 2 of them are 2025 grants. One of them is the 2024 grant that we found out in December of 2025. They are for 2 projects over at Grange Park. 2 of them are for the Grange Park Loop Trail. Each are $250,000 awards, one from DCD for the Greenways Recreation and Trails Program. The other one is from the DCNR Community Conservation Partnership Program. And the last one is for Grange Park basketball court improvements through the DCD Local Share Account Grant. To give perspective on how long it took to understand from application to award, the DCNR and DCD 2025 was applied in March of 2025. We found out in December 2025 and January 2026. We couldn't do this without the team effort. The individuals who are listed there from our state senator, Jared Coleman, state representative, Mike Schlossberg, our DCNR regional advisor, HRG, our engineering team, and our township manager and board of supervisors. Next is a visual from HRG that we presented in our grant application for the Grange Park Loop Trail to give you an idea of what we're proposing to build. The yellow dotted line is phase 1, which would get us from pavilion number 4 to the southern side of the park, all the way around the stormwater detention basin to where we've started to mock up a trail end where if you were at trunk or treat, that's where we finished this year. So that gets us a large portion of this trail in this phase 1, with the blue dotted lines being the remainder of the loop trail around the park.
Overall, general timeline. Don't hold me to exact dates, but general timeline of how long this will take. We're working on finishing up the grant agreements in February. If we do have to go to the bids and awarding contracts, February to April of 2026. Construction design permitting from April 26 through January 27, and with a potential construction beginning March through October of 2027. So do not expect it on asphalt tomorrow. It's going to take a little bit of time to get us there. The next project, this is an example of a neighboring township, North Whitehall Township, who recently redid basketball court improvements, but it's a good visual of what we applied for. Resurfacing of the courts in various colors, new backboard equipment, player benches, score tables, garbage cans, and fencing. Next slide. This gives you an overview of a shorter timeline to complete this project. We can start as early as March with grant agreements, our quotes and proposals. Awarding beginning June, July of the summer, and hopefully by fall, we are ready with new basketball courts to go into the winter. Just we had a lot going on. Want to make sure we gave you an overview and that, what our realistic time frame is to start working on these projects.
Thanks, Ryan. Congratulations to you, the entire staff, Bob, your team who put all this together, to our elected officials who helped us get there. Good things are happening in our park system, and they're coming up fast.
Thank you.
All right, discussions and updates. We don't have any ordinances. I believe there actually is a change to the agenda where that motion to adopt an ordinance 2602 has been tabled till next month, yes?
That's correct.
All right, so ordinances that will be tabled to March 5th, 2026. We're to resolutions, Resolution A, Resolution 2026-05, fee schedule update.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We're proposing to add this to the fee schedule. It's for the fire, Bureau of Fire.
All right.
Okay, just waiting to catch up. The Bureau of Fire to provide fire extinguisher training. Fire Commissioner has calculated the fee for it, but I wanted to bring it before the board for consideration. Would you like us to charge a fee for that type of training, or would you like to have that considered part of public safety, provided as a service to township businesses?
Want to make a motion and then discuss it?
I make a motion to the resolution 2026-05, dating of Oakland Township's 2026 fee schedule, specific to Schedule H, adding a fee for fire extinguisher training in public for a fee of $450 for 10 students and $25 for each additional student.
I'll second that. Questions or concerns, Sonny?
Yeah, so, yeah, I was actually thinking the same thing, Bob, when I read this. Do you have some idea of how much what the total financial impact is if we were not to charge?
Last year we didn't charge.
Yeah, so we haven't really done any commercial businesses thus far, but we've had numerous requests. That's why we're trying to sort of get ahead of it. I've sort of put everything on hold. We've really used the fire extinguisher training for more of the younger based students, not on the commercial side, more on the resident side.
Okay. So we don't know how many people we're going to get, or you don't have any history.
We don't have any history, but we have a lot of inquiries.
Is the intent to just charge for commercial businesses or residential and commercial?
Just commercial. Because we're using a lot of the fire extinguisher training that we do is through our emergency services academy.
Okay. So that's why there's a group of 10 students, because that's usually what you'll find at a commercial establishment to bring a shift in to do the training.
Do we know what other municipalities are doing? We've been having?
So really other municipalities are not, or not just municipalities, but even take Lehigh Valley Hospital has a fire extinguisher training, but they're not using it generally for commercial purposes. It's more on a individual residential environment.
Okay. I'm kind of inclined to not charge the residential. I kind of like the other aspect of getting the public interested in fire safety, and maybe, as a function of recruitment to get engagement with the fire departments and so forth. So I kind of like the idea of not charging residential, open. I mean, I have less of an opinion on the commercial. I mean, especially since you don't have a history, maybe we could start charging and then later on find out how much.
You could amend the motion.
Amend the motion later as we learn more when we have history on it. Yeah, I've been open to that, but I don't know if the board will understand.
Well, I think we have a great fire commissioner. He does a great job, and for something of that nature, I'm very glad for his recommendation. So I'd like to give you my support and vote yes on this motion.
Hey, Pete, you'd be okay with an amendment to it that it would be charging the $250 or whatever number we come up with just for commercial trainings and allow residential trainings for free?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
And school trainings, I assume, for free to the extent that educationally youth of America need to be trained when using a fire extinguisher?
Yes, sir.
As long as they're not working, the commercial that makes charge. All right, so what I'm gonna do then, I'm gonna make a motion to amend the motion, I guess, technically, that we amend the resolution to add a $250 fee for 10 students only for commercial purposes, however you phrase it that way. So that we can maintain residential training and educational training for free, but only be for a registered business in the township, to that the fee would apply. Do I need to be more specific than that on the resolution, Andrew?
I think you covered it.
Okay. So is there someone that would second the motion to amend the motion accordingly?
Can I second that?
Thank you. Public comment, anyone care to weigh in on this issue? Perfect. We can call question, move to vote. All those in favor of the motion as amended to add a $250 fee for up to 10 students for commercial training, for fire extinguisher training for commercial enterprises in the township, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Resolution 2026-06, docket 2420, the use sheets Windsor conditional use application.
I think I'll handle this. As hopefully you remember, there was a public hearing this evening related to this, and there was testimony elicited, exhibits presented. Again, stating what I stated at the beginning of that public hearing. In deciding this, you must consider that so long as the proposed use satisfies the standards for the use, and those are the standards that the applicant walked through with its various witnesses. Once that burden has been satisfied, the conditional use must be approved unless you find credibility with the objector's testimony that has been presented.
Sorry.
That's okay. So if you are inclined to find that the applicant has satisfied its burden, then I would suggest a motion to approve the conditional use subject to or conditioned upon the testimony elicited during the public hearing, as well as any of the exhibits presented, in particular any I guess agreements as far as safety and traffic that they said that they would be committed to and or attempt to undertake, as well as the review letters made or by or on behalf of the township staff or engineers. That would be the letters from the Director of Community Development dated January 16th, review letter of Marv Walton, zoning officer, of January 12th, 2026, and the HRG review letter dated January 16th of 2026, and the letter from Peter Christ dated January 6th, 2016. I'll allow Mr. Chairman to try to capture all that again.
So what I'm gonna do, just to get the ball rolling, I'm gonna make a motion to approve the conditional use based on the following three conditions. One, it's conditioned on that the applicant conforms with the testimony and the exhibits provided. Two, that the applicant comply with the review letters of Mary Keller, dated January 16th, 2026, of Mark Walton, dated January 12th, 2026, of HRG, dated January 16th, 2026, and of Chief Chris, dated January 6th, 2026. And third, condition on easement access from Windsor, subject to staff and solicitor review and approval. I believe that was something that we discussed as well at the meeting.
Yes, it's a good catch.
So I'm going to make a motion to approve the conditional use based on with those three conditions attached. Is there a second to that?
I have a before you make that, we heard a lot of discussion around traffic circulation and signage. Do we think that that will be addressed later on and we don't have to act that on now? Is that your thinking?
My thinking is that the signage is going to get addressed in the land use, the land development process, and that we are conditioning it upon the testimony we heard about the commitment to work towards the better within that. So it's built into that condition that the conformity with the testimony and the exhibits. That's the intention of it.
All right, I just want to make sure before we move forward that we captured it somewhere.
Yep,
As long as we captured there, I'm okay. So you made the motion, I second the
All right,
motion.
thank you. Julie, any questions or concerns on that?
No.
Something?
No.
I have none. Anyone from the public want to be heard again? Perfect. Seeing none, we can move to the vote. All those in favor of the motion to approve the conditional use for Sheets Windsor, conditioned upon conformity with the testimony that is provided, conditioned upon the review letters of January 16th times 2, January 12th, and January 6th, and conditioned upon easement access from Windsor being subject to staff solicitor review and approval, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good job tonight. All right, we are to resolution 2026-07, docket 2336, Sunset Orchard, Chancellorsville Road, preliminary final land development approval. Mary.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to point out that this is for preliminary only. It was submitted as a preliminary final land development, subdivision and land development, but you'll see that they withdrew a waiver requesting that it be considered simultaneously. So the applicant is proposing to consolidate 2 existing lots and to construct a residential development consisting of 197 townhouse units and 6 single-family semi-detached twin-style homes with associated site improvements. The application has 3 waivers from sections of the Township Saldo. Single-family semi-detached dwellings and townhouses are consistent with the current township zoning ordinance and are used as allowed by right within the R3 medium-low density residential zoning district. One item that I want to point out is that they are required to install sidewalks along all street frontages, and the township has requested that they install side paths in lieu of sidewalks to be consistent with the Vision Zero action plan, and they have complied with that request. That's all the comments I have.
Okay, so for the purpose of discussion, then what I'll do is I will make a motion to adopt resolution number 2026-07, granting preliminary subdivision and land development approval for docket number 2636, Sunset Orchards, including the approval of waiver request 1, 2, and 3, and all conditioned on staff and engineering review letters dated January 29th and January 26th, 2026, respectively.
I'll say that. Thanks, Sonny.
Good to see you. Thank you. If you have any questions, we're here to address them. No issues with the motion presented, and we'll comply with all the comments in the letters. So we thank you.
Questions or concerns of the applicant, Sonny?
I did have a couple questions, not as many as the last ones. So maybe for marriage, I don't know, but I know that in the well, maybe you guys can answer this too. You know, what property were you offering for parkland dedication in fee in lieu of? It wasn't clear in the review letter.
No, we're offering a fee in lieu of any.
Oh, you are including that? Okay.
Right. There is some recreation proposed as part of the project, but that's as required by the ordinance.
Understood. Okay. I might sometimes it's just me clarifying what I read. So, and you guys give me a voluminous amount of bit of work prior to the meetings. Do the townhomes that you have right now, do they include garages, and is that above and beyond the parking requirements?
They do include garages, and they're included as part of the parking requirement.
So they're part of the numbers, the garages, okay.
Correct.
So the garage and the driveway is like more considered one, right?
believe they're considered one each, so there's two.
Driveway space and a
The
garage.
driveway space would be one and the garage space would be another. And then there's the overflow parking to meet the balance of the parking requirement.
Okay, I think this might be I don't know, this might be an engineering question, but, did you guys get sworn in?
No.
They're not testing, okay, good. All right, there was some discussion on the line of sight, site distances requirements in paragraph 3 of our zoning officer's letter, dated, January 26th. I just wanted to understand if those conditions were met. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
I believe the latest letter mentions that comment was addressed.
Okay, all right, fair enough. I know it was almost looked like a text message that we carry all that out. So in the new update, I know the LVPC letter cited concerns regarding site distances and signage comments at the entrance of Bastion Lane. I think you might have addressed it by teeing off Bastion Lane. But I just wanted to double check that and see if that, if that has been addressed and if there's any further need for signage.
Yeah, so that was the configuration of that intersection was discussed with the planning commission, and the township's preference was to make that a T intersection, and it will be stop controlled all 3 directions.
Okay, great, thank you for that. I mean, in the map here, there's the Elm Street connection. Is that only an emergency access road?
That's correct, and it will be gated.
Oh, it will be gated. Okay, great. Thank you for that clarification. And then, can the applicant also, can you explain how you're going to be phasing construction? I noticed that there's 3 different phases.
Yeah, so essentially, kind of starting at Shantz will be the first phase, and then kind of moving towards Bastion Lane will be the second and third phase. So essentially building that proposed roadway from south to north, making that connection.
And what would be the schedule or timeframe for that, all of those?
It's a little premature to estimate that at this point. I can't really estimate that right now.
And how would you and the reason why I'm asking because I was imagining how do you manage truck traffic, especially when you consider that people living in phase 1 and then you'll be doing construction on phase 2. We'll be living in phase 2 and then you'll be doing construction on 3. From the way the road is configured, I could see some concerns.
Yeah, and so we're preliminary only, so I think that's something, and the way Horton, they'll build batches of homes, and then as they sell, then they'll come in and apply for building permits for another batch of homes. They're in townhouse buildings, so you'll do several buildings at a time. So they won't come in and build all of the lots at once. So that's why we've asked to phase the plan. But those things are details that I would expect to work out with Attorney Shantz during the land development agreement process. If there are issues, concerns with safety for the residents, already existing residents of the townships, or circulation hours of construction issues, that's something we'd want to work in the land development, and also a firm schedule on what the phasing expectation is.
Okay, all right. So, a couple more questions. That's it. Are there any improvement plans for the intersection of Shantz and Russell Road, like widening and turning signals? Could you describe what you're planning?
There is some widening is required by the ordinance on both roads. There is an additional turn lane, a right turn lane will be added to Shantz onto Ruppsville.
North or south?
So if you're heading west on Shantz, it'll be a right turn lane to turn north onto Ruppsville.
Okay, headed towards the Tillman Street entrance.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that would be one. All right. And it was in the review letter. I was curious actually. Are you planning any EV charging stations, especially for residents that might have electric cars? And is there any ability to charge maybe even in some of the common lots?
So that wasn't something that was contemplated, but it's something we can, I don't know, we can discuss that with D.R. Horton and see what their appetite is. If not, something garage chargers. We think that's common, folks. If somebody has a Tesla, they want their own charger at home.
Yeah, that's possible.
And the final question, is there a plan to extend the pedestrian crossing versus a roadway from, I guess I was looking at the map and I wanted to clarify what the plan was. Is there at 6450 Tupelo Road to Sunset, is there a pedestrian crossing plan at that? I think it's some part of it is the township property. What are you planning to do there?
So Tupelo Road. There's a pedestrian connection into the property that the township owns. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, I was just wondering if you're planning to like have a pedestrian crossing that at that area so that you can, I think there's two roads that I don't have in front of the map up there, but looked like an opportunity to make a pedestrian crossing. I think there was some reference to Lone Lane Park, but I was confused if that was it or something different.
That was a staff request because we've been speaking with a recreation manager, and there could be an opportunity to expand Lone Lane Park across the street to where there are some stormwater management areas. So in the future, we want to have a connection from this development that would lead into there if we were to install a trail. And so they've complied with that request, and they are showing that they would have that extension on their property to connect where we would potentially have a future trail around that property.
That's all. I just wanted to clarify if that was the location you were referring to. Okay, well, thank you so much. That's all I have.
No question. I guess I have one question, and it's sort of it's not really a preliminary plan question, but it's a concern. So on the phase building, is the phase building of the homes different from the infrastructure? Being that, I guess to Sonny's question a little bit, are we gonna, once we go in, is it possible to consider having all of Sunset Boulevard from end to end built out so that, for example, students for bus passage, waste product pickup at dumpster sites, making sure that we have proper turn radiuses and exit and egress and ingress for larger municipal or even fire vehicles? Is that going to be something that's imaginable?
I suppose it's possible. We could take access, theoretically, we could take access from Bastion in order to construct phases 2 and 3. It's possible, even if it's not necessarily building Sunset to its kind of final condition, but even just sort of a stone access road, perhaps.
Right. I guess it's just if you do phase 1, for example, I can't tell. I'm not sure it's necessarily for what our review is here, but turning radiuses for garbage trucks and school buses as larger vehicles as well as fire vehicles. It doesn't look like it on a small plane. If those turning radiuses into the parking courts in Crystal Court are created for those size vehicles, it's just an idea that making sure that if we're having, for example, small kids move in where we want a bus stop near their home, that we can have easy access for bus in, easy access for bus out. That's something that the developer would consider as part of this, as part of the moving from preliminary to final approval.
Mr. Chairman, in previous applications over the years, when developments have been phased, each phase has to stand on itself, on its own by itself.
Okay.
The township is required, and Scott can either cul-de-sacs or some type of hammerhead turnaround, at the edge of that phase to allow those vehicles, fire apparatus, delivery trucks, garbage trucks to turn around.
And school buses, for example, as well.
Right. Is that right, Scott? Yeah.
So if it's spaced out that way, Sunset Boulevard would have a stub end that would allow a large turning radius so that we have safety and emergency management processes available. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, just to add to that comment though, I mean, one of the concerns I have is if you're having a lot of heavy construction, I don't know if you want to run those trucks through the residential district that people are already living. If you were to be able to complete the Sunset all the way through, then those trucks, the construction vehicles that are moving back and forth from Bastion would have to come back through the residential portion that's already occupied. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's a thought that I think you might want to consider just to make it. We'll probably get those complaints otherwise, so that's why we're trying to think ahead.
And I think the details of the phasing plan are going to comprise a significant portion of the final land development approval. As we flesh out the rest of the development itself, that's going to dictate some of what the phasing looks like. And as Attorney Shen said, township requires it, but we have to make accommodations for deliveries, construction vehicles, buses, emergency access, things of that like.
I mean, this configuration is a little unique in that there's not a lot of multiple ways to come in and out, so it's just one long strip. So it's not a normal situation where you can manage. So even if you have something that was like a construction grade paving, it'll give you the ability to work in there safely and keep the residents safe.
Yeah, it's even just the base code. Right.
Okay, that's all I have.
Anything else from up on the dais?
I don't have anything else to add.
I guess public comment or concerns regarding this development. Yes, sir, why don't you come on up and introduce yourself?
Mike Milano, I live on Tupelo Road. My home borders the tree farm and the backside. Just going back to the traffic on Shantz in Ruppsville. They're gonna add a right turn lane, they say. Right now, there's a right turn only on the Shantz. Everybody just ignores the right turn and just goes straight. So I don't, that's something that, you need to look in township wise at that intersection. Because right now there's issues with people just not paying it, taking the right turn only. They're going straight through there. So if you add another turning lane, you're gonna have people trying to come around waiting. Because that traffic in the morning, it'll back up to the firehouse if you go out there 6:30 in the morning, people waiting. Then also coming towards the firehouse on Shantz, there's no turning lane if you're gonna make a left into the development. So the traffic is gonna back up and back into that intersection. So I know they say they do traffic studies and everything, but real life, I live there, I see. The other thing, there was a meeting, the last public meeting with the planning was October of 24. That's 14 months till December that they let the public in and had a meeting about this development. They said there was no changes in the plan, but there was multiple changes. The engineer really couldn't answer the questions. There was different engineers than they were back in October of 24. Just my home, I see they moved the townhomes directly on the side of me, which moved the other townhouses down. They added a parking lot now at the end of my property besides a detention pond. So there's a lot of stuff. I don't know if it's due to the planning board, that how they work, how they operate, but we were kept in the dark for 14 months, didn't see all of these changes. Also asked about what are they gonna do to buffer, and are you gonna use plants, trees, and they really couldn't give an answer on that. So there's some questions and answers that we'd really like to hear on that. Thank you.
Thank you. With regards to the buffers, that's something that's going to be addressed between now and final approval? Yes?
Yes.
And that you will commit to not only planning commission input, but also some neighboring input about making sure that we have proper screening between the townhomes and the parking areas and the neighbors?
Yes.
Okay. Andrew, and then.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead
first.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Andrew Snyder. I live on Tupelo, right near Mike. My concern, spoken to several of you in the past, is this project is going to add 400 plus cars to our already crowded, congested roads. So I still don't have a clear answer. It's nice to hear that they're going to widen. It sounded like they're going to widen Shantz.
Correct.
But for the right turn, there's also a concern with Ruppsville. Now, I don't know how much would be put on to the project or whether this is a township thing or even a state issue. But when you're coming south on Ruppsville and you want to turn on to Shantz, because there's no turning lane there, if one person wants to turn left, everybody has to sit and wait there. So, again, that adds to the congestion and confusion. So, I guess my concern is if this project doesn't take care of that, is there is there some plan with the township to deal with the problems at this intersection, which is Ruppsville and Shantz? And the projected, what I think is going to be a problem, is Bastion and Blue Barn. You're already seeing that also backs up, and it's dangerous. I don't know, I don't necessarily want to put a light there, but I go across that intersection every morning, and it's like, Frogger, you got to make sure you jump in between the cars. So add 400, and I know traffic studies say, well, it's only going to be 67 cars, but if you add that to the morning rush, it's just going to make that much more congested. So I guess my question is more to the township. Are there plans to look at these intersections and alleviate some of this congestion? Whether it's adding turning lanes or signage or lights or whatever. But it's bad now, and it's only going to get worse when you throw 400 more cars into the mix. So that's the statement. I don't know if anybody has an answer or there plans on the books. I don't know if maybe the engineer knows something.
No, I can add something to that. Maybe.
Oh, okay.
Are the plans on the books? No, but we do have HRG looking at basically what we're calling a transportation study. Where we're trying to go through the township, identify some key intersections, roadways that will need some improvements, and try and come up with some long-term capital planning. Also, to be prepared to go after grant money for a lot of that work.
Okay.
And Roseville, it is a state road.
So you need PennDOT to get involved, and I just see, you have the Sunset Grill on one side. They're kind of limited. You can't make the road wider there, but you have an opportunity now with this property that's going to be built upon. Is there a provision that we can put into this plan that makes sure that area stays open so we can widen the intersection at some time in the future?
That's what a right of way is. I mean, that's every property in the township that abuts a road, which is every property.
Okay.
There's a township right of way that we possess that we can expand. That's exactly what that's for. So
Okay, but is that automatic, or do you have to put it into the plan or the salary or whatever?
You know what the right of way there is on Russell Road?
I don't recall the width, but I can say that we are dedicating half of the required right of way on our side of the road to PennDOT for.
Along Ruppsville?
Along Ruppsville, yes, on the east side of Ruppsville, that abuts the property.
All right, so at least you have the opportunity in the future if we want to widen the road.
Yeah, my guess is, and Stan, if you know, my guess is it's at least 15 feet is the ultimate right of way at some point, but it's measured off this, and it's measured off the center line of the road. So I don't know how wide Ruppsville Road is off the top of my head, and there's some.
Well, it's 2 lanes.
Right, but so let's call it 40
Whatever,
feet. If it's 40 feet from the center line, that means you go out, there's a right of way that gives every road the expansion power. So even in your backyard, as it abuts my backyard, abuts Daniel, there's a right of way that I couldn't put my fence that far because you've got to respect township right of way. So those exist. And in the next couple of years, we're going to be talking a lot about right of ways, but because there are some roads that need some attention in the township as we continue to grow and as we continue to deal with traffic issues. So I think Bob's is the right one. We're looking at it now, not just this one. There's several intersections that we hear a lot about.
They're widening the road, giving us the right of way up into 35 feet from the center line.
Right. So if it's one lane and you figure one lane's what, 12 feet?
Yep.
That means we've got 21 feet on one side of the road to expand to that. If we need to push it out, that's another lane at least if we have to get there.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that we have a right turn lane, but right turns generally aren't a problem. It's left turns that hold up the traffic. So the plan that was presented, or the latest design, I guess, that was presented to the planning board in December, is that the same one you are analyzing today? Like there haven't been any revisions since what was presented?
I have to assume so, yeah.
Okay. Is there, once this gets approved and moves forward into more of a heavy design, is that information going to be available to the public? Are there going to be meetings, or do we have to go somewhere to look at the plans?
So typically, and I'll let the engineer and the attorney and our lawyer help me with this, but typically what happens is the planning commission remains involved township remains involved and dealing with how the plan can come in before it has to get final approval. It's got to go back to planning for final approval with those submissions. So there'll be some continued back and forth. With regard to that, essentially this preliminary is to set the basic design plan, and we're going to work on all the stormwater management, work on all the traffic flow, work on all of the signage, work on a lot of the details that the buffering.
Okay, so we'll have an opportunity as the public to see what this is, what the final product looks like before they start digging the ground.
Yes.
Okay.
And each phase will have to have its own separate land development approval. So they'll need a final land development approval for phase 1, for phase 2, and for phase 3, which may be concurrent or in separate. So it's up to them to decide.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not hidden for me. We'll do the process.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Butch Stop. I live at 6651 Shantz Road. When this plant project started, it was gonna be put on the plan that I have an active farm. Is that still on there?
There was a note added to the plan about that. It was an agricultural nuisance note. Off the
Yes.
top of my head, I think that's what.
Yeah, because I spread manure. And
Well
I know
aware.
how people are. We get it out at the farm out there too, and it's out in nowhere, chicken manure. Second of all, water runoff so it don't come over my crops. That was gonna be addressed also.
Absolutely. Stormwater management is reviewed by the township, by the Lehigh Valley Planning Commission, as well as the Lehigh County Conservation.
Well, when this plan first started, they said they were gonna put like a swale alongside of my property,
Okay,
like almost like a retention pond kind of water runoff. Lower than what my property is, because the way the water flows there now, is it comes back from your place, back in the corner, and it flows right down the middle of that property. Like it heads down towards the corner of Brooksville Road. And when it flows, it flows. You see it, I got pictures. My neighbor woman has pictures, and she's 94. We got plenty of pictures. But no water has to come over on my crops. Or I won't be sending out letters, my legal people will.
we're not allowed to let any additional runoff onto your property, and we have to manage everything on this property.
Okay, that's was my concern, because I'm an active farm. So I just wanted to make sure that it's still on there, because it only takes one. All right, thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other public comment regarding this application?
Hello, I'm Jody Millard. I live on Elm Road. And just so I could remember what to ask, a simple one. First off, we've had a lot of meetings. Can you tell us again what the setback is? From
Or which setback? There's separate.
from residents on Elm to where the setback, which would mean the end of my property line to the actual structure, not the property line of the development, but the structure. That kind of.
So you're looking for your rear yard setback, or you're looking for their property yard
Yeah.
rear yard setback from a
Right.
townhome that's built
The townhome
adjacent to Elm Road?
to my property,
75 feet.
75 feet.
Yep.
So there I walk 75 feet, I touch the house.
Mhm.
Okay, that's helpful.
Is that all around? 75?
It's a rear yard setback of 75, yes, sir?
It's a townhome setback for the townhomes,
From any property line or just in the rear?
just in the rear.
Right, so that's, if the rear of the rear of the townhome is facing your property line,
Correct.
75 feet from your property line to touch the house.
And what about is that all the way around? Because Tupelo has,
I have twins up on the side of me, which is the tree farm, not my backyard.
Mike, you live on the edge, the end of Tupelo Road?
Correct.
So the end of Tupelo Road, it looks like that's where the twins are, yes?
Yes.
So Stan, you know the rear yard setback, or I guess that would be a side yard setback maybe for the twins?
It's 20 feet.
Actually, for engineering perspective, on those, the twins that are on Sunset Boulevard, abutting from this farm, the tree farm is on Tupelo, are those gonna be rear to the Tupelo Road properties or side to the Tupelo Road properties?
Rears,
Rear.
So it's 20 feet rear, or is it?
20 feet rear.
Okay. So it's 20-foot setback there.
You moved that right in line with my house now, so if it's 20 feet, I'm not gonna see nothing. It was offset in the plan prior to when they showed us in December. So you two guys weren't here in December. There was another engineer here.
Yeah, I was not here.
Yeah, and he really didn't have any answers about changes, and there was changes made. He put in the test too, he said, no, we didn't make any changes, which the townhouse was, the twin was over from directly behind me. So now if it's directly behind my house at 20 feet, that's,
But your house is the north on Tupelo at the end, right?
I'm at the end, yes.
But 20 feet, I mean, so it's your side, it's your west side is what you're concerned about?
Correct.
The distance between the west side of that property and the back of the townhouse. Looks like it's more than 20 feet.
Well, the back that they're showing is more than 20 feet, but the minimum, that rear
Okay.
yard is 20
So
feet.
that dotted line on those twin lots, that's the rear yard setback.
Correct.
Yeah, and so as it's being proposed, these twins don't abut the rear yard setback, but it's being shown on the plan as 20 feet. Is that
Correct.
fair?
20 feet is the minimum.
Right. But at least in this iteration of the plan, they're not built to that 20-foot foundation.
They're pulled to the front of the
Right.
building envelope, which is that.
So that
dash
they,
line.
so that they have a
Maximizing
backyard.
amount of space.
Yeah, and that's my point, I guess.
Sorry.
Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you.
Jody, we kind of slow your time there, I apologize.
Oh, I'm sorry, no. My other question, so I don't forget, let's say there's been a lot of iterations of the plan. We're at these meetings, the plan's approved, where we can actually, as residents, look at that plan and know what the expectations are. We have that. Who do we go to on the board if we feel that something is not compliant through the building? Who is our contact on the board?
Through the building of the process?
Yeah, as
So
the
after we're-
construction begins, as it, it's going to be phased in, all that, and something occurs that was unexpected. And it's been agreed upon, in the plan and between the builder and the plan.
I'm gonna suggest that the three of us are not the people that you want to talk to, because we're politicians, we're not professional staff in the township. So between HRG, between the code enforcement officer and the township, between.
For the building of it, HRG is our township engineer.
Okay.
They have construction inspectors on site.
Okay.
So if you call either myself or Meredith, that you feel something's going wrong.
Yeah.
You get a hold of Stan or the construction manager, and then they'll take a look at it.
All right, I think that's it for me.
Thank you. Anyone else want to make public comment?
Yeah, one more question.
Can you come up? You should come up because they'll hear you.
The detention basins, there's pumps that move the water from one to the other to dissipate the water. If in the future, when you're gone, it's in homeowners association, who is responsible for overseeing that they run the way they're supposed to run? The township or the homeowners?
The way most homeowner association agreements are drafted, it's gonna be the homeowner.
And what if there's an issue, then who do we go to?
There's a, what I refer to as a BMP agreement, which is put on record, and it requires in this case, the homeowners association to perform certain maintenance. They have obligation to perform certain maintenance. If they fail to do so, and they have to turn those maintenance reports into the township for inspection. If they fail to do so, the township can go on the property, make the repairs, and then lien the property for the HOA for the costs incurred by the township.
Okay, so the township will get involved if it came down to it.
They have the right but not the obligation to go onto the property, but They would send letters, enforcement letters, first to the HOA, and then if they're non-responsive, they would go onto the property and perform those inspections and maintenance.
Okay, thanks for the clarification, because the planning board said the township would be responsible if there was issues.
Can't trust the plan.
Tell me about it. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Anyone else with public comment? By the way, just for the record, we do trust our planning commission. They do a wonderful job. Chuck, you and your team do a great job. I'm just being pithy. All right. I guess with no further comment from the board or from the public, we can move to a vote. Find it.
Do you want me to make it?
Well, you've already made the motion. Okay, so all those in favor of the motion to adopt resolution 20.607, granting preliminary subdivision and land development approval plan for docket 2636 Sunset Orchards, subject to an approving waiver requests 1, 2, and 3, conditioned upon the staff and engineer review letters dated January 29th and January 26th, 2026, respectively, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That passes. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the public comment. We appreciate it. That doesn't work without you.
You don't get a name?
What's that?
You don't get a name?
No, you don't.
Jeff, the next one is preliminary.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Yes, it is preliminary.
Preliminary.
Oh, there, yeah. We're resolution D, docket 2026-08, docket 2343, 121 Nestle Way, and 8361 Shams Road, preliminary land development lot consolidation. Meredith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The proposed development consists of the consolidation of 8 parcels bounded by Shantz Road, Nestle Way, and Alt Road, and the demolition of existing residential buildings and accessory structures. The application proposes to construct an 82,167 square foot warehouse with associated parking, stormwater management, and other associated site improvements. There was one waiver request that was submitted with this plan and has been withdrawn. The zoning hearing board in December 2023 did vote to grant approval to allow the applicant to develop and operate a distribution warehouse subject to 14 conditions. It was a special exception approval. I'll just note that there are VZAP improvements that are shown on the plan, and the plan complies with all of those recommended improvements.
For the motion to adopt resolution 2026-08, granting preliminary lot consolidation and land development plan approval for docket number 2343, 121 Nestle Way, and 8361 Shantz Road. Condition on the staff and township engineer review letters dated January 29th and January 26th, respectively.
Thank you, Julian. I'll second that. Anybody here on that one? Waiting patiently for your decision. How are you?
Well, thank you. My name is Steve Gutsusi. I'm the attorney for the applicant. Unless you have any questions, it's been a late night and I don't have to say any more.
And now that you said it, I was on the zoning hearing board when this got approval in December of 2023. So that's why I remember this project. I knew that I did. Sonny, any questions?
So I only have 29 questions.
All right.
So I actually only have.
Used to these meetings.
Actually, you're lucky. I only have one. I do remember this one. So we're just doing the lot consolidation on this now?
No, they're proposing a warehouse development on this property.
Oh, okay. So I went through everything. The only concern I had is, I did notice that there's a lot of this, you have a residential district nearby, right? Are you thinking about dark sky light compliance on your property? Because they are, yeah, you are. Okay.
They are.
They are, okay. That was the only question I had. It's a late night.
Attorney Johnson, so we need to also include the June 30th, 2025 letter from Chief Chris as part of the preliminary, or is that going to be addressed in the final?
We've addressed it. I've not seen an updated review from him, so.
Okay.
Peter and I have spoken many times. I'm fine with you listing it, and we'll address it in final.
The fact that he called him Peter must be in trouble.
Just formal.
All right, so Peter, are you okay that your first review from now 6 months ago has been addressed satisfactorily?
Yes.
And you haven't issued a new review letter, if you did, it would be part of the land development process.
Correct.
Okay. All right, thank you. Julie, any questions or concerns? Anyone from the public which we heard regarding this project? Seeing none, we can very quickly, for the first time tonight, move to vote on this. Resolution, all those in favor of the motion to adopt resolution 2026-08, granting preliminary lot consolidation and land development plan approval for docket 2343. Condition on the staff and township review letters dated January 29th and January 26th respectively, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes. Thank you for your patience tonight.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You're welcome. Resolution E, 2026-09, docket 2265A, revoking plan for Trexler Town Retail Center. Andrew.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Docket 2265A, Trexler Retail Center, is a previously approved plan that was granted conditional final land development approval on November 7th, 2024. The conditions of approval included the requirement to provide all plans and documents needed for the recording of the plan to the township engineer within 120 days. This is in excess of what the NPC requires, which is 90 days. Since November 7th, 2024, there have been multiple attempts to seek compliance with the applicant. As of late this week, the applicant has submitted signed improvements and maintenance agreements. They have paid their recreation fee. They have paid other required fees. The piece of the missing puzzle is that they have not been able to secure financial security. The applicant's attorney provided me with a letter from a bank that, to summarize, I think you have it in your packet. The bank has an interest in financing this project. They say that they're requesting a 60-day approval. They say that there was a merger between banks, but they have been working with this applicant since the middle of December, which we've been pestering them since probably the end of 2024 to get this recorded. The applicant's attorney's here. He's requesting a 90-day extension to get this last piece of the puzzle completed. And again, the bank is saying that they need 60 days to get their financing in place. There's not a solid commitment, but they obviously have an interest in it, that they being the bank. Attorney Preston's here, so I'll let him present his side of the story.
Sure. Jim Preston, attorney for the delinquent. So I don't want to argue. I don't think we're limited to 90 days from the date of final plan approval. I believe it's 90 days from the date when all the conditions of the final plan approval have been met. But that's neither here nor there. As some of you may know, there is a 5-year window for preliminary plan approval, and then another 5-year window for final plan approval for the vesting for the plan. My clients have had some difficulty in securing their letter of credit. There has been a period where they have gone dark and the township has requested information. My clients were not responsive. That is in fact correct. That did happen. We're requesting, in light of the information that we've been able to provide to you, which is confirmation from their lender that they are processing the LOC, that they had been contacted about the LOC, and that there was some issues with the bank organization and merger. They are telling us they'll have that within 60 days, which is why I requested a 90-day extension so that we don't have to, 61 days, I don't have to come back here and do this again. So we're asking you to act on our request for an extension.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2026-09, extending the plan approval for docket 2265A Tractor County Retail Center, OA developer not meeting conditions. Approval, is there a second for that?
I'll second.
Jim, we're at a point where everything's been met except the credit, yeah?
Absolutely, yeah, just a letter of credit, that's it.
Okay. And I guess hear from the applicant, if that's okay, just sort of a,
You want to talk directly?
yeah, that's all right.
Absolutely.
Whichever or both.
Yeah, my name is Hamdaya, owner of Trexler Retail Center.
Can you repeat your last name for me?
Her last name is Daya, D-Y-A.
Yeah. Mr. What's going on here?
Nothing, it's just bank at, it's the internal bank's internal problem, that's why we couldn't get it.
Well, but it seems like we waited a year between the plan approval before we started talking to the bank. Was
We
there,
started a long time ago to get the letter of credit. We started with the loan officer of Wayne Bank, Linda Little. She got, retired, and they had another loan officer. It took 2 to 3 months. Then he said that it's gonna be, we have to appraise the property. It took a month and extra. Then end of the year, in December, they got merged to the Presence Bank. Since Wayne Bank doesn't have any presence here, they got Presence Bank here. And then we started with the Presence Bank to get the letter of credit. That's why they say that we started working with them in December.
I guess my primary concern is that when there's outreach attempts from the township to talk to you about what the status is of what's going on and there's no response back, that becomes a frustrating thing for the township. We're here representing our staff. Trying to reach out to you when there's silence, it becomes a really difficult situation to figure out how to address these issues. If we give you this extension, is this something that we're not gonna have a problem with again, that you're gonna be committed and your team is gonna be committed to being in constant contact with township staff, making sure that if we give you an extension, you're gonna comply with that extension?
Yes, I'm sorry about what happened, but we will come.
All we can do is move forward, right? And if an extension is given, would you be okay if this is it?
Yes.
There's no more extensions after that? Any other questions?
No, I think that's reasonable. So, I was gonna ask you about the 60 versus 90. You gave a reasonable explanation. I think I'm okay with a 90-day, assuming that there's no additional extension. That's it. No, you're not coming back for another one. Not that we don't mind seeing you, but, we're not coming back and doing another one.
Understood.
Okay?
Julie, question?
No, that sounds fair.
All right, so I'm gonna make a motion to amend the motion. Have a motion to adopt resolution 2026-09 to be amended to granting a 90-day, a final, one-time only, 90-day extension for meeting the conditions of approval for docket 2265A, Trexler County Retail Center. Do I need to add anything else to that, Andrew?
I'm just looking at the calendar, and I'm not certain what 90, because February is a little bit, it's a shorter month, but I guess we're running into May. If that 90 days runs before the supervisors meeting, there's not going to be an opportunity to extend that, so that's exactly what you want.
Yeah.
But that'll be then placed on the May meeting.
I'm not necessarily concerned based on the way we discussed it and based on what is acknowledged that if they miss that deadline, they've missed that deadline and we'll have a motion to rescind that'll be after the deadline's passed.
Correct.
So
Yep.
I'm okay with that. Whatever 90 days from today, actually, it's 10/20. We'll call it 90 days from tomorrow.
We'll take
To give you an extra 2 hours and 18 minutes, whatever. But 90 days from February 6th, 2026 is the extension date. And if they don't meet it, then that becomes, gotta start over, which is unfortunate, but that's where we are. So, is there a second to the amended motion?
I'll second the amended motion.
All right. Any public concern about that? Seeing none, we can move to vote. All those in favor of the motion to provide a 90-day extension for docket 2265A, 90-day extension from February 6th, 2026, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Final number.
Thank you, I do appreciate it.
And just for clarification,
Yes.
we had talked about, there's been some email back and forth about the amount of the letter of credit. It's gonna add on that 10%.
And you'll see in my letter, I said approximately 700 and something. I didn't put the exact dollar amount.
Okay,
Because you and I had talked about.
correct.
Because it's been so long, it escalates by 10%.
Yep.
We're aware of that.
Okay. So it'll be, I trust you and Andrew to work out that and make sure that.
That's why I left the number out. So
Yeah,
that we
I appreciate that.
Okay,
Thank
thanks.
you. Thank you, gentlemen.
That does it.
Yeah.
Resolution F, 2026-10, docket 2065A, which is the same as the one that was before it. Appointing Barry as the Township Code Enforcement Officer. Barry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is just a housekeeping item. After the resignation of our code enforcement officer, we've had Barry Aset and Associates fill in the interim to provide those services. Prior to issuing non-traffic citations or filing a civil complaint, the code enforcement officer must be assigned a badge number by the magisterial district court, and to obtain the number, the officer must first be appointed by the Board of Supervisors.
Okay, so, excuse me, I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2026-09, rescinding plan approval for docket number.
Point.
Resolution 2026-10.
Okay.
Barry Asset Township Code.
Oh, that's, yeah, okay, so let me just start all over again, sure. All right, so motion to adopt resolution number 2026-10, docket number 2265A, appointing Barry Isaac as Township Code Enforcement Officer.
I'll second that. Questions or concerns, honey?
No.
I have one comment.
Yes, please.
For housekeeping, because resolution 2026-09 was not adopted. There will be a gap in the resolution numbers. I don't know if we want to convert that 10 to 9.
I think we modified resolution 2026-09. We amended it to be granting the extension, so this should
Okay,
still.
yeah, normally we do that by motion, but okay.
Right, this should still, so we.
Then we're still in order.
Amend it as a resolution, so we'll just keep it as resolution 2026.
Okay,
But I
I
don't
missed
think it
that.
needs, I don't think it needs docket 2265A as part of it. That's a misprint in the sheet. So it'll be, as signing it, just appointing Barry Asset as Township Code Enforcement Officer as resolution 2026-10.
2026, do you want me to restate it?
No.
Okay, we're good, all right.
Anyone from the public that has significantly diminished since we.
Oh my God. I just
He's
noticed.
a hard four.
Any questions or concerns? Sitting members can move to vote. All those in favor of the motion to adopt resolution 2026-10, appointing Barry Asset as the Township Code Enforcement Officer, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That passes. Thank you, gentlemen. Moving to motions. Motion A, authorizing a zoning update for height for automated storage and retrieval systems in the light industrial, limited light industrial districts. Andrew.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you recall, with the township adopting an ordinance for data centers, the township is updating and completely rewriting its zoning ordinance. However, there are certain terminology, uses that are not in our current ordinance that we, as staff and consultants, would like the supervisors to implement prior to the adoption. Again, this is mainly intended to be interim, but we will address it during the rewrite. The township has seen 2 variances recently, requests related to what's known as ASRS, which is automated storage and retrieval systems, which are essentially completely automated racking systems that are vertical in nature. It allows for more efficiency in warehousing and storage. What's being proposed right now is to allow these ASRS with a maximum height of 120 feet, provided that they are in the LI and LIL zoning districts. They would also need to be part of a manufacturing facility that would include a campus-like setting, including office and warehouse storage. Keep in mind that the revision or amendment only would allow an ASRS to accompany 20% of the overall footprint of the manufacturing facility. So it wouldn't be applicable to just the zoning, just for a warehouse use. So what we're looking to have finalized is to authorize that amendment, further authorize and advertise a public hearing for the zoning update on April 2nd, 2026, and authorize the advertisement of the consideration of the ordinance to occur at the April 2nd meeting as well. I think, given the time of night, we can capture all three of those in one motion. If anyone has any questions, I can clarify.
We had a plan, but capturing all three in one. Sure.
What's that?
We had a plan for making that motion, Andrew, and then you said, let's capture all three in one.
Okay.
Plan fell apart. So we're gonna combine motions A and B on the agenda to be a single motion, which I'm gonna read as, we'll combine them all. So it's a motion, I'm gonna make a motion to authorize the advertisement of an ordinance proposing an amendment to the zoning ordinance for automatic storage and retrieval systems to be considered for adoption at the April 2nd, 2026 Board of Supervisors meeting. In addition to that, authorizing staff to send the draft zoning ordinance amendment to automate for ASRS systems to the Lehigh Valley Planning Commission and the Upper Macungie Township Planning Commission for recommendation. Additionally, authorizing the advertisement of a public hearing for April 2nd, 2026 for the zoning amendment as so indicated. Is there a second for that?
Second.
Thank you, Julian. Questions or concerns about authorizing advertisement and a public hearing and sending it off for review? Sonny?
Yeah, so concept of the ASRS is not something I'm worried about, but I am concerned about where they're located. And I have a concern about the scope of it could be also included in a light industrial, no problem with limited light industrial. So that was my only concern.
And we can address those at the hearing on April 2nd.
That can be addressed there, but yeah, that would be my concern.
Okay. Julie, anything?
I'm good.
Questions or concerns from the public? All three of them. And then we can move to vote. All those in favor of the motion as made regarding the amendment of the zoning ordinance, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
I'm opposed.
Passes 2-1. We're to motion C, authorizing the advertisement of public hearing and adoption of the LRTA ordinance for March 5th, 2026. Andrew.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The township has considered in the past to adopt a LRTA or similar type of ordinance. An LRTA is a local economic revitalization tax assistance act or program, which would designate a certain area in which the township would determine to be underutilized, and any improvements on that site would be entitled to certain tax incentives in the way of property tax abatements. In order to adopt such an ordinance, there would need to be a public hearing in which the area to be designated for the LRTA would be identified, and thereafter that would need to be adopted by resolution, and thereafter I would want to see an ordinance considered. Both of those, the public hearing and the advertisement of the ordinance, would occur on March 5th of 2026. So I am requesting that you authorize that process to occur. One, scheduling the advertisement of the public hearing and also the advertisement of the ordinance.
Was motion to authorize the advertisement of the ordinance establishing, proposing a LRTA delineating an area bound by Route 1, Route I-78 to the south, Allen Road to the west, Main Street to the north, and Lehigh County parcel number 545640893833-1, 8400 Main Street to the east as unrealized properties which we eligible for the LRTA, which will be considered for adoption at March 5th, 2026 Board of Supervisors meeting. As well as advertisement of public hearing for March 5th, 2026 for the establishment of the area to be designated as areas which are unrealized and in need of development and which will be recognized as such in the LRTA ordinance.
I'll second that. Thank you, Julian. Questions or concerns? Somebody?
I have none.
Julian?
Good.
Anything from the audience regarding alerta? Seeing none, we can move to vote. All those in favor of the motion to authorize the advertising of the ordinance to be considered for adoption on March 5th, as well as motion to advertise a public hearing for March 5th for the same purpose, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Thank you, Andrew. Motion D, authorizing the township manager to provide food and lodging during township declared emergencies, including the weather event on January 25th and 26th, 2026. Bob?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a housekeeping item. I actually thought, excuse me, that we had done something similar in the past that carried through to the perpetuity, at least as long as I was manager, but I couldn't find it. So to err on the side of caution, we're requesting that during certain declared disasters, whether it's police, fire, public works, when guys can't get home, they can't get back to sleep, they can't get food, that we make the arrangements to pay for it and keep them available for the emergency. That just has happened in 25th, 26th during that snowstorm. I believe Commissioner Chris got our rooms for free, but we did have some food expenses with the Public Works Department.
Okay, so make a motion to authorize the township to cover any costs for food and lodging with the January 24th to 26th, 2026 snowstorm, and further authorizing the township manager to allow for township expenses for food and lodging during declared emergencies.
I'll second that. Thank you, somebody.
Okay.
Complete staff pass.
Select those.
Can we amend the motion to specifically exclude township staff from the board?
So I have one question though. I mean, do we want to put a dollar limit to it, or is it open-ended?
Yeah, but
Yeah, the
we're
budget.
not gonna buy steaks and lobsters. It was a Subway train.
I think there was a lot of disappointed people when they hear that, but, okay, no, I first I thought this was just limited to just that one event, but you wanna, what's that?
Subway was open.
Subway, was it okay, all right, so, okay, I understand, and I guess in an emergency situation, it's hard to determine, so, okay, that's all I have.
Julie, any questions, any staff you want to?
No questions.
I have none. Anyone from the audience? Oh, God, Chuck.
Come on up, you gotta come up. You have a 5-minute limit. Just, write like 2 years.
You got 1 minute. Who in the township declares the emergency? Is that the township manager or the board of supervisors?
Township manager.
All right. That's all.
If no other public comment, we're gonna move to vote. All those in favor of the motion to authorize township to cover any costs incurred for declared emergencies, including the weekend of January 24th, 2026, 2026, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that passes. Thank you, Bob. And I think it goes without saying, thank you, Pete, thank you, Mike, thank you. Even thank you to Scott, I guess, and your teams for sticking it out through that. There's always complaints, but not enough. Congratulations for the work that you do to make sure the township's safe, so thank you for what you do. Motion E, authorizing township manager to enter a cable franchise agreement, Bob.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The township does currently have two cable franchise agreements, both with RCN and Cable TV. We've been approached by Verizon, who's looking to move with BIOS into the township. So they approached us to enter in a cable franchise agreement. We're asking the board to basically give the solicitor or myself the opportunity to negotiate that agreement. I will throw this out as a point of information. We currently do not charge a fee like some municipalities do. If the board so desires, this would be an opportunity during these negotiations to start that process. Andrew could probably give you a little more background if you have one question.
So I'll make the motion to authorize township manager to execute a cable franchise agreement with Verizon Pennsylvania LLC pending the solicitor's approval of contract conditions. Is there one second now? Andrew, anything to add?
I think what Bob said is accurate. One thing, the township has been approached by, I would say, nearly all the cable franchise providers within the township over the years to enter into franchise agreements wherein they would pay a franchise fee. Typically, they range from 1% of the gross revenue, which is defined in the agreement, up to a limit of 5%. It's basically a pass-through fee to the subscribers, and it's an opportunity for additional revenue, and it sets forth their rights and obligations with respect to entering right-of-ways, the response time they need to respond to. Then it's just a litany of obligations. The language in these are typically standard between the cable franchise providers, but the negotiation is the percentage of the gross revenue. So we need to sit down with the representative from Verizon and negotiate some of these items.
Also for a point of information for the board, the service electric agreement that's currently in place is about ready to expire. So they've reached out to me to start the renewal process of that agreement.
Okay. And none of these have any exclusivity things that we have to worry about. No one's trying to block out another.
No, they don't have that. I think that, there used to be a system where developers would only allow or sell their cable rights to one provider. So people moved into that development, they could only benefit from Service Electric. The township does not allow exclusive trenching to be done, so they have to offer that to all the providers at this point.
So is there a mechanism so that when the trench is open, that all service providers can use the same trench?
I'm sorry?
Is there a mechanism in place that if the trench is open, that other service providers can use the same trench? So
they're supposed to allow any provider in that trench.
Is that part of the agreement? Or is that somewhere else?
I haven't gotten into those details with this particular agreement, and the other ones are old that I don't remember what's in those, but it's in our ordinances that they're to provide that.
Okay, so if you had to, you could add that to the agreement.
Correct.
Appropriate.
And it's really not on the cable, it's on the developer to require that.
But we can require that of the developer.
Okay,
that would be
it's already there.
Okay,
I
got
believe
you.
so.
Julie, anything?
No, good.
Anyone in the public?
Good evening. A question about how these agreements are implemented and the obligation of the franchisee to hire reputable contractors. I'm speaking specifically to about maybe 4 or 5 years ago, a second cable contractor came into Green Hills where Chuck and I live. And, they went through my neighbor's water line, they tore up my yard, they tore up Chuck's driveway, they went through my neighbor's power line into his house. If I remember correctly, they set a house on fire down the street. So is there any way to put any protection or some requirements in there that they actually hire competent contractors, which I realize is probably a stretch for this board, but I just want to remind the board of the extreme disruption that the idiots that it wasn't necessarily the cable company, it's the idiots that they hired to do it.
I think we can probably, Andrew, within the agreement that we're looking at as you negotiate, make sure that we have some indemnification, some responsibility and no waivers of that within the agreement for their contractors and their retained employees.
I have the same concern, and I remember the house situation. I was mentioning it to Bob today. You didn't remember it, but I remember there was something. Common concern that I got, Paul, was, and I won't call him, I think you got people that maybe don't speak English.
Yep.
If there's a language problem, And in a recent situation, the residents were not even informed that this was gonna
And that was
happen.
the problem with in Green Hills too.
Yeah, so they were supposed to give notification, and what I would like to suggest, and I appreciate your value your input, but might suggest that they're required to give notification to the residents, and they should give a way to contact the residents if there's any questions or concerns. And that should be like a site construction manager, someone that is a representative of the company, not the
Correct,
third
not
party.
the contractor, correct.
Yeah, and I don't blame the contractors. I think they're just doing their job, but it's the company that didn't possibly provide the proper communication and ability to.
And you raised a good point, because I'm pretty sure that the contractor that damaged my property was maybe out of like North Carolina or South Carolina. And then he was using a sub out of Jersey or something.
Yeah, it's the fact that you've got like a sub and even a sub for a sub.
Yep.
And then nobody in the management of the cable providers there for us to reach. So if that's possible, Andrew, I was already anticipating this discussion. I'm glad you brought it up. If it's possible to do that as a requirement, that'd be great. And the other question I have is, do we want to charge a fee?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so can I just, all right, I apologize. I will let you get to it.
No, go ahead.
But my only question is, do we want to charge it? Because I'm not sure if are we bearing any cost to this other than once the agreement is done and we said.
Keep in mind that the fee that we charge is actually gonna be relayed, it's a pass-through. They're gonna charge this the residents. It's not something that we get. The residents pay for it.
Who gets the money?
But we'll get it, but the
We get it.
residents are paying for it. So
I know, I understand that. That's my point. It's a fee that we get the money. Are we doing anything for this money? No. So I don't want to charge the fee it's just a junk fee in a way that we're not really doing anything for. That's what I'm trying to get. Maybe I wasn't clear. So my vote would be not to charge the residents a fee for that, but I do think it's an angle ability to put a little bit more control over the process so the residents aren't concerned, addresses their concerns. That's just my vote.
We'll work it out and then bring it back before the board for approval and signature. If that's, we can keep.
And I'm only
the
speaking
fee.
for myself. I don't know how the
Right.
other supervisors feel, but that's what I'd like to see.
I'd like to have a carve out to charge Chuck the Prill fees, just you.
Yeah,
I'd be open to that.
All kidding aside, in reference to this thing, when that cable company came through, they blew up my whole driveway. My whole driveway had been replaced. I almost got in a fist fight with the guys, cops were there, because they did not want to do any repairs. They told me that it was my fault. They used a torpedo under the ground, called the police department because it got really nasty, and he called the township, and the township told me that it was not their responsibility, it was my fight. I don't think you were here yet when this all went on.
That was going on at the same time in South
But,
Whitehall.
I mean, they messed up a lot of properties, and the contractor, he showed up, and then the guy from, RCN, yeah. And he showed up, and it was a nice party at my house without alcohol.
And with the police though, yeah.
Yeah, the police were there because it was, yeah.
It was a nice party.
Because the guy that did it, when it put the drill bit at my throat, so that wasn't cool. So and they were from out of state. If you're gonna do a third company, protect your citizens.
Yeah, so we'll make sure that we build in the agreement, and we'll look through it to make sure it's a non-delegable responsibility of the party with whom signs the contract, that if there are any damages, they have to fix them. Okay. Figure out something like that.
Yep.
Any more public comment? Good, seeing none, we can move to vote. All those in favor of the motion authorize township manager to execute a cable franchise agreement with Verizon Pennsylvania LLC, pending solicitor approval of contract conditions, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, that passes. Motion F, appointing Jacqueline Tyndall as the assistant township secretary. Does anyone want to take that one?
Make a motion to appoint Jacqueline Tyndall as assistant township secretary.
I'll second that.
Okay, great.
Jazz? Jasmine?
Yeah.
Jasmine Bassett.
I would, the Assistant Township Secretary position is currently vacant, and I would like to recommend the appointment of Jacqueline Sindel to fill that position in case I'm unable to attend one of the meetings or be available for signatures.
I think for the record, that's not ever gonna happen, you're not allowed, you have to be here every time. Any questions, comments, or concerns regarding Jackie Kendall?
Just a question, does this impact township budgets or anything? Is there any difference in? Okay, that's on that.
Julie?
No question.
Anything from the audience? Seeing none, we move to vote. All those in favor of the motion to appoint Jackie Kendall as the Assistant Township Secretary, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Thank you, Jazz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Coming right back at you for motion G, appointing Tammy Antonelli as the Deputy Right to Know Officer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Similar to the last motion, this position is also vacant, and I would like to recommend Tammy Antonelli to fill this position in the case that I'm unable to fulfill the requests that are being received by the township.
I'll make a motion to appoint Tammy Antonelli as the Deputy Right to Know Officer. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Julie. Questions or concerns?
Same question applies.
No.
That's all I have, okay.
Anybody else? Move to vote. All those in favor of the motion to appoint Tammy Antonelli as the Deputy Right to Know Officer, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Motion H, as we work our way merrily through. Vote appointing Julian Godbarge and Michael Szynski as Township Board Representatives on the Upper McCutcheon Township Community Fund Board. Bob?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Township Board of Supervisors and the Park and Rec Chairman are positions that are part of the UNTCF Board of Directors. It's, again, a housekeeping measure that the board itself, the Township Board authorizes the Community Funds Board members. Don't know if he can vote for himself in something like this, he probably can.
He can vote for himself.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion to appoint Julian Godbar and Michael Szynski as Township Board Representatives on the Upper McCutcheon Township Community Fund Board.
I'll second that, but I don't have to do it anymore. Questions or concerns, Sonny?
No.
Julian? No questions. Good job. We can move to vote. All those in favor of the motion to appoint Julian Godbar and Michael Szynski to the Upper McCutcheon Township Community Fund Board, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Thank you. We're to vote an aye, recognizing the expiration of the term of Jeff Strauss and Scott Adams as Deputy Tax Collectors and appointing Kristen Schmidt-Hodman as Deputy Tax Collector. Bob?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, we had a new tax collector this year. So with that, Jeff Strauss and Scott Adams were with the former tax collector, and we're just acknowledging that their deputy appointments are expiring. And Barry has asked for a new deputy tax collector to back him up in case he's incapacitated or absent. That is actually his wife.
Okay, motion to appoint Kristen Schmidt, Hodavans as Deputy Tax Collector of the McCutcheon Township, effective February 6, 2026. And further recognizing the expiration of Jeff Strauss and Scott Adams as Deputy Tax Collectors.
I'll second that. Or Jeff and Scott have expired. Is there any questions or concerns?
No.
Good. None from me. Any from the audience? Seeing none, we move to vote. All those in favor of the motion to appoint Kristen Schmidt-Hodvans as Deputy Tax Collector and recognize the expiration of terms of Jeff Strauss and Scott Adams as Deputy Tax Collector, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That passes. Thank you, Bob. Motion J, authorizing the township manager to enter into a contract for sewer lateral repairs with Mr. Rehab.
Yes, thank you again, Mr. Chair. The name may sound a little residential, but they are quite commercial in what they do. HRG has a lot of experience using them in the southeast region of the state.
It's okay, I'll do the one.
So this is all part of our I&I reduction plans. That's part of the bigger Act 537 plan. They are a state contract. Their unit costs are very competitive, actually slightly lower than some of the big costs we received in previous years. So we're asking for approval to award this bid, this contract.
All right, so I'll make a motion to authorize the township manager to sign a contract for the use of Mr. Rehab LLC for sanitary sewer lateral inspections and repairs in the amount of $86,027.50.
I'll second that. Questions or concerns, Sonny?
No.
Julian? This is within our budget, Bob?
Yes, very much.
Okay. No questions from anyone in the audience? Perfect. Seeing none, we can move to vote. All those in favor of the motion to authorize township manager to sign a contract with Mr. Rehab LLC in the amount of $86,027.50. Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Motion K, updating the approval of alcohol sales at township events. Ryan?
Okay, shout it out. In January, you approved a specific list of events. This is an additional event since then. We actually were able to partner with the Western Virginia Chamber of Commerce to facilitate the positive party.
I'll make a motion to approve the vendors to serve alcohol at an additional township run event, Paws in the Park, contingent upon completion by the selected vendors of the Upper McConkey Township Certificate of Insurance Alcohol Liability Additional Insured Requirements, proof of responsible alcohol management program, employee certifications, and proof of the liquor control, Pennsylvania Liquor Control Board exposition permit verified by township staff, including but not limited to township manager, recreation manager, chief of police, township solicitor, and finance director. Is there a second? Thank you, Julian. Questions or concerns? Honey?
No.
Julian?
All good.
One for me. Anyone care to ask questions about drinking with dogs in the park? Seeing none, we can move to the vote. I'm not reading the whole motion again. And all those in favor of the motion to approve alcohol at Paws in the Park, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Thank you, Ryan. We're to motion L, authorizing the sale of a 2014 Chevy Silverado 2500 HD.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Two vehicles that we would like for approval to sell. The first one is a 2014 Chevy Silverado at a purchase price of $28,000 to Laurie Station Volunteer Fire Company. I did consult the Public Works Director for pricing of the two vehicles, and that's how we came up with the sale price.
Why don't we just for expediency include motion M for the 2019 Chevy Tahoe as well, so we can do them both at once? Is that okay?
Gladly do that.
Thank you.
Second vehicle is a 2019 Chevrolet Tahoe at a purchase price of $23,000 to the Fountainville Fire Company.
Hey, I'd like to make a motion to authorize the sale of the 2014 Chevrolet Silverado at a purchase price of $28,000 to Valley Station Volunteer Fire Company number 1, as well as the sale of the 2019 Chevrolet Tahoe at a purchase price of $23,000 to the Fountain Hill Fire Company.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you. Questions or concerns? Senator?
No.
Julian? None from me. Anybody from the audience? Seeing none, we can move to vote. All those in favor of the motion to sell the 2014 Chevrolet Silverado for $28,000 and the 2019 Chevy Tahoe for $23,000, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion N, authorize the transfer funds to the McConkey Township Fire and Rescue Company Station 57 to support the staffing program.
Thank you again, Mr. Chairman. I came to you a few months ago before the end of 2025 to finish out the year and transfer funds to Upper McConkey Township Fire and Rescue Station 57. The start of the new year, the treasurer has requested additional funds be transferred to Upper McConkey Township Fire and Rescue Station 57 in the amount of $50,000 to support the retention and recruitment fund for our staffing program.
I'll make a motion to authorize the use of recruitment and retention funds to support Upper McConkey Township Fire and Rescue Station 57 staffing program at $50,000. Second.
Second that.
Thank you, Julian. Questions or concerns? Sonny?
I'm just trying to understand the bigger picture since we're doing this incrementally. What's in the budget for the full year? I don't remember.
I believe 400,000.
400,000, okay. And so you anticipate coming back at every 50,000?
At the board's request.
Okay, I got you. All right, very good. That's all I have.
Julian?
I'm good.
Anything from the audience? Seeing none, we can move to vote. All those in favor of the motion to authorize $50,000 transfer to Station 57 for the recruitment and retention fund for the staffing program, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
For what to call you when you're in trouble. Motion O, authorizing agreement with Keystone Municipal Solutions for the purpose of conducting a township manager search. That says me, so I will talk about that. We have been informed by our fearless leader, Bob Ibach, that 2026 will mark the end of his professional career, at least in Upper McCountry Township as manager for now. So we have begun the process of how to answer that question. We've reached out to a few different recruiting firms, and after interviews and discussion, we've settled on Keystone Municipal Solutions, which has quoted us a price of $12,000 for that search. So I'll make a motion authorizing agreement with Keystone Municipal Solutions for the purpose of conducting a township manager search in the amount of $12,000. So second for that.
I can second that.
Thank you. Questions or concerns?
No.
Julie?
No.
Anyone from the gathered masses? Chuck?
Quick question. When the township originally hired their first township.
Chuck, you should come up because you're on, come on, you're on YouTube. You know the drill. Come on.
I thought everybody be asleep.
Probably at this point they are.
When the township hired their first township manager, along with a firm that you hired, they also had a search committee of residents and township. There was one township supervisor and like 3 or 4 residents of the township that also served on the committee to look at the final 3 or 4 people that they selected. And I know that because I was on the committee with Kathy Rader and I forget who else was on it. I was just wondering if you guys thought about it.
I will tell you one thing, Chuck. I conducted the reference checks for this company, and one of the things that I found out is that it is a very, very small group of a small pool of people that you'll get.
Well, and that's what they said the last time when we hired the first gentleman, we had they had 15 people and they knocked it down to 3 or 4.
Well, that's what the process that we're paying for is they're gonna not, we're not taking all the applications. That's what we're hiring people for.
That's what I meant.
They're using their professional expertise to sort of limit down based on interviews with Bob, interviews with staff, interviews with us as to what we're trying, what we're
And
looking for.
that's only the question I was asking about the whole process.
What I'll say is this, I won't rule it out, but I'm not gonna rule it in either right now.
That's fair.
But the purpose of hiring this group is to serve us with that task force, with that responsibility. We'll talk to them and see if they feel like it's a worthwhile exercise to engage a larger group of interview, and we'll go from there.
Perfect. That's all right. It was just.
You should stop it, that's perfect, we're done.
All right, good night.
Any other questions or concerns? Seeing none, we can move to vote. All those in favor of the motion authorizing agreement with Keystone Municipal Solutions, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Thank you. And say it once and we'll say it again, Bob. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Board and staff reports, monthly department reports available at the back of the room and have been posted on the township's website. Are there any department managers who have anything specific they'd like to announce? Michelle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to remind everybody of the paper shred event that will be held in April and an electronic recycling event in May. Event details to be filed on our township website.
Thank you. Peter?
No, sir.
I'm gonna call you that from now on. Mike?
Yeah, I just want to announce that we wrapped up our annual No Shade campaign. Peace Department raised $2,460, which will be donated to the Leah Valley Humane Society.
Excellent. I'm still going, by the way. Bob?
Yeah, you need to report that the elected board of auditors met on January 6th, and they set the workman supervisor wage at $57 an hour. And that's 3% increase from 2025. That is not your meeting stipend, that is if you are a working supervisor.
We don't have any, right?
No.
We don't work.
Well, you get more than me, right?
And I think more than Tony does.
Yeah. Your salaries are set by population.
Based on population when you're elected, and it stays no matter how long you get elected or reelected after.
No.
Yeah. It's big money too.
Oh my God, the election.
That's why we're doing it.
I had a couple renderings of the police and fire.
Yeah, we'll skip that, we'll skip that till next month, when maybe we don't have a meeting at 11 o'clock. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There were executive sessions held on January 13th at 5:30 PM and January 30th at 12:45 to discuss personnel issues, and today, February 5th at 5 PM for legal matters. Other than that, information is constantly being pushed through Facebook, Instagram, as well as our website. So for the latest information, just make sure you're subscribing and checking in from time to time. That's all.
Thank you, Meredith.
Just a really brief update that we've been plugging away on the zoning ordinance with the new consultant, and she's been making some good progress, and we should probably have an update soon.
Okay. Do you think we can do something as an update with a more specific timeline for the March meeting?
Do you want the consultant to be present? Or?
No, just
Okay.
something to give us a more sharpened guideline so that we can, you know, maybe put public workshops on the books.
I think we should talk about it and figure out what exactly we want to do before that.
But we'll plan on maybe a discussion update in March once we have that conversation.
You can even give us some guidance, even if it's not definitive, but, you know, that'd be great.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Andrew.
I have nothing to add.
Perfect. Stan?
I'll just be real quick. We're working on the Streamlight Go project. Anticipate bidding it in springtime. Fire station, next month when you do show up, they will actually be submitted plans. We're looking at submitting them for the March PC meeting. And then we are looking at the proposed police station to submit that in March for the April PC meeting.
Perfect. Scott? I do not have nothing to add. That's lovely. Ryan?
Just the only item is we had Winter Fest scheduled for this upcoming Saturday, and it's going to be postponed to Sunday, February 5th, due to the extreme cold.
Okay, that's been posted out far and
It will
wide.
be tomorrow morning.
Okay, so this was, first it was pushed forward.
We moved it earlier due to cold temps in the 4 to 7 time range, and then now we're seeing the cold temps plus 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts.
That could be fun.
I mean, it's a celebration of winter.
What's the new date?
Sunday, the 15th of February.
So this Sunday,
So not Super Bowl Sunday, but
next Sunday.
celebration of Valentine's Day weekend. And that'll go out tomorrow and it'll be posted on Facebook and social media and our website and everything else. All right, thanks, Ryan. Anything else? Lovely. Sonny?
No, nothing at this time. Given the hour.
Good.
Nothing else.
I would like to congratulate Chuck DePrill, being named one of the most influential superstars in the Lehigh Valley by the Morning Call this week. You're an inspiration to all, Chuck. Other than that, be nice to each other, be kind. Public comment, courtesy of floor. Anyone?
Thank you.
Anyone in the masses want to have any more things to say at this early hour? Perfect. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Anybody second that? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you.
Be nice to each other and, really?